Chapter 21, Masks and the UA Sports Festival. The next morning, when running, Izuku deliberately chose another route and didn't run into Bakugo. But Xiao Sheng will probably ask me at school. Izuku remembered that when he was in junior high school, he was beaten and scolded by Xiao Sheng because of a trivial matter. I hope Xiao Sheng won't scold me today. Izuku thought with a headache while running. Just put on the mask. Izuku ran home slowly, walked into his room, opened his closet, climbed into the depths of his closet, and reached out to touch something. Found it. Izuku took out a box and placed it on the desk. I didn't expect that. I haven't taken it out for so long. I don't know if the things inside can still be worn. This is what I wore when I went to the festival when I was a child. It's too small. This is the All Might mask I bought when I went to the festival with Xiao Sheng when I was a child. It doesn't work either. Ah. This one. Izuku took out a mask and a photo. The photo had turned slightly yellow. This was a half photo. At that time, Izuku was having fun with another friend. For various reasons, he and this friend separated, and the only keepsake left was a mask and a half photo of this person. Then wear this mask to school today. Izuku patted the mask, shook off the dust on it, and then put it on. It looks okay like this, and it won't be so weird. The mask Izuku bought at that time was a half-face mask that could cover the lower half of his face. Mom. I'm going out. Okay. Why did Izuku wear a mask to school today? That's because, that. I see, Izuku has reached the second year of middle school. Go ahead, don't forget to get along well with your classmates. Midoriya Inu looked at Izuku kindly. Okay. I got it. At 7 o'clock in the morning, Izuku arrived at the class, which was still empty. Am I the first one to arrive? Izuku sat in his seat, looked at Bakugo's seat in front of him, nodded, and put on the mask. Well, it's decided. Don't talk to Bakugo all day today, and except for class, I'd better run and hide somewhere after class so that Bakugo won't find me. Let me think, the library is fine, you can't use quirk there, and I also need to recharge myself, so it's decided. Izuku took out the book from his school bag and started to preview. After preparing for a while, Izuku looked at the time. He knew that his classmates were coming, including Bakugo. He walked out of the classroom with his books. It took about 15 to 20 minutes for his classmates to arrive in the classroom, and Xiao Sheng arrived in the classroom at about 7:10 to 7:20. The class starts at 8 o'clock, and the students come to school from 7:20 to 7:40, so how can I survive the rest of the time? Izuku took out the half-finished photo from his pocket. The faces in the photo were blurred and it was impossible to see who it was. Let me think about it. I seemed to be very close to him at that time. I went to play with him almost every day. What happened afterwards? I forgot. Izuku spread his hands. Forget it, let's wait for the fate to come. When the fate comes, I will naturally meet him. Izuku put away the half of the photo, then took out his mobile phone and opened the chat history with Bakugo yesterday. Basically, they all said that they would definitely beat him tomorrow. Sure enough, it's still very Xiao Sheng's style. Izuku twitched the corner of his mouth. Sure enough, it was the right choice to decide not to talk to Xiao Sheng today. Then is there any other information? Oh, right. I have only practiced the third chapter of leg and boxing techniques, and I have to practice the fourth chapter next. Let me see. The fourth chapter of boxing and leg techniques. At 7:10, Bakugo was the first to arrive in the classroom. He knew that at this time, Izuku, the loser, would be in class to prepare for his lessons. Waste, explain yourself. Bakugo violently opened the door, wanting to find Izuku to ask him clearly, but the class was empty. Tisk, the school bag is still there, he has come, is he deliberately hiding from me? Bakugo kicked the table where Izuku was sitting fiercely. Waste, wait for you to come back, I must beat you up first. Bakugo said angrily, and sat back in his seat. At 7:40, Ida Tinya, as the class monitor, entered the classroom with other students. As soon as they entered the classroom, they saw Bakugo sitting in his seat with an unhappy look on his face, and Izuku behind him was not there. Strange, where is Izuku, who should have arrived earlier? Shangming Denki asked while putting down his school bag. I wonder where that idiot has gone? If he dares to come back, I'll be the first to beat him up. I don't know what's wrong with you two, but the class meeting is about to start, so hurry up and sit down. Ida Tinya had just finished speaking when Izuku opened the door and walked in, followed by teacher Shota Izawa, whose face and hands were wrapped in bandages. Teacher. You're recovering so fast. You're being too professional. Teacher, are you okay? Can you still say you're okay? Izuku tried to minimize his presence. Just when he was about to sit back in his seat, Bakugo suddenly stared at him. Izuku was scared, but because he was wearing a mask, only his face was exposed. Although Izuku was scared, he didn't let Bakugo see his expression. He sat back in his seat obediently. It doesn't matter what my situation is. The most important thing is that the battle is not over yet. Battle? Could it be? The enemy is coming again. The UA Sports Festival is coming soon. Izawa Shota said this with a slightly higher tone. Damn! The school-style event is finally here. The UA Sports Festival is an annual large-scale event that directly replaces the past Olympics, and those who shine in this event are very likely to be noticed by the agency, which greatly improves both experience and topicality, so this time, I must show my skills in this UA Sports Festival. Izuku clenched his hands and thought secretly in his heart. Besides, with my current physical fitness and All Might's quirk, I will definitely get a good ranking in the sports festival. Izuku thought, and looked at the excited Bakugo in front of him, and sighed. Before that, let's avoid Xia Sheng's disaster first. Xiao Sheng is still angry. After this class, all the students in the class could see the scene. Every time the get out of class was over, Izuku turned around and ran out of the class, followed by Bakugo. When the class was about to start, Bakugo came back with an unhappy face, and Izuku followed behind him, and neither of them said a word. What are these two playing? I guess something happened. Didn't you see that Bakugo's face was sour? Yurika Okako and Ashido Mina said, and suddenly, Hagakure Toru, who was sitting in his seat, said. I saw Bakugo and Izuku looking at their phones. They looked very important. Do you want me to steal Izuku's phone and see what's going on? This is absolutely not allowed. It's an invasion of privacy. And I saw Izuku took his phone away after class just now. Chapter 22. Time slowly came to noon, and Izuku, who had already gone to 4 classes with Bakugo, was almost exhausted, so he decided to let Xiao Sheng give him a good beating after this get out of class. Go and eat immediately after being beaten by him, I'm starving to death. Izuku thought this, but when get out of class was over, Kaken walked out of the classroom as if nothing happened. What's going on now, Kaken? Forget it, let's go eat, I'm starving. Izuku, Tinya Ida, and Okako Yurika decided to go to the cafeteria to eat. But just as they were walking out the door, All Might suddenly appeared at the corner of the stairs. Hey, Green Valley boy, I brought a lunch box, do you want to eat together? Hazy. After lunch was finished 20 minutes later, both Izuku and All Might raised their teacups to drink tea. So All Might, why did you call me this time? Could it be that that idiot has already finished checking the information? No, that matter has not been concluded yet, but what I want to tell you is actually related to this heroic sports festival. I need you to shine in this sports festival. Yeah, I know. Izuku replied matter-of-factly. What's that expression on your face? All Might spat out immediately. With my current physical condition and ability, there is no problem in finishing in the top 3, but in terms of performance, how should I put it? Is it because I inherited All Might's power? So I have no intention of competing for the first place. But this is a place where everyone is a hero and everyone is like a dragon. I may also capsize in the gutter. Izuku pinched his chin and muttered. All Might's mouth twitched. Why is this little doll always thinking about the worst and not making any progress at all? But I can use this hero sports festival to gain a lot of experience and reputation. Izuku thought seriously. Hey, that's enough. All Might made a stop gesture, and Izuku stopped talking and looked at him. You are now my heir. Although this matter has not been announced, your personality will make people think that you are related to me because of your personality. Some people may even think that you are mine. Illegitimate child is not impossible, but the more this happens, the more you have to show your strong side and not back down. All Might patted Izuku's shoulders. Go tell the world. You turned out to be born. When school was over in the afternoon, Izuku was still thinking about what All Might said while packing his school bag. Are you born? Then I have to fight other students, or at the worst, I have to fight the students in my own class. Then I need to collect information about all the students. Although this is not very good, but, no matter what, it's a big deal after collecting it. There's no need. Izuku thought seriously. Suddenly, the classroom door was opened, and there were a dozen students from other classes standing outside. What's going on? Yurika Okako looked at the classmates outside the door with a puzzled look. I guess the last time we fought against the enemy was revealed to the teachers of other classes, and the Heroic Sports Festival is coming soon. They also want to see if our Class 1A is that powerful. Ida Tinya analyzed carefully, his intelligence is not inferior to Izuku, more importantly, they want to collect intelligence. They are all enemies anyway, just fight them off. Get out of the way. Bakugo was still the same as before. He grumpily walked out with his school bag on his back and pushed away everyone blocking the door. Humph! You're so arrogant, I don't know what you're capable of. Behind the crowd, a man with bright colors and long eyelashes as long as feathers stood behind the crowd and stared at Bakugo. No one who can get into Class 1A is stupid. If you want to fight them, it's better to be cautious. A girl stood next to the boy and said. Yes, eldest sister, although Class 1A is great, we, Class B, are not easy to mess with either. Izuku was still thinking when he returned home in the evening. In battles and even wars, intelligence is the top priority, but now almost all the students in 1A, including me, are remembered by classmates in other classes. This is not good, so this time do you have to do it all at once? No, I still have to watch the Hero Festival videos from previous years. Izuku, thinking this, opened the door. Hey? Mom, are there guests at our house? As soon as Izuku entered the door, he saw a pair of unfamiliar shoes. Izuku is back. Come here quickly and meet your grandma. Your grandma took care of you when you were a child. The introduction brought Izuku into the living room, and he saw a silver-haired old woman sitting on the sofa in the living room. She was Izuku's grandmother, Midoriya Suakui. Hello grandma. Izuku greeted his grandma obediently. It's good when you're back. Wash your hands. Midoriya Suakui stretched out his finger, and a ball of water appeared in front of Izuku. This was Midoriya Suakui's personality controlling the water in the air. Thank you, grandma. Izuku washed his hands obediently, then put down his school bag and sat next to grandma. Grandma, why do you have time to come to our place? Aren't you enjoying life in the countryside? Izuku said coquettishly like a child while holding one of grandma's hands. Hey, why is our little Izuku so good at acting like a spoiled brat? You're the one who got admitted to Midoriya Suizui scratched the bridge of Izuku's nose. When he was 4 to 5 years old, Izuku had for a period of time, he lived with his grandmother in the countryside. She was very kind to him, so he naturally relied on her. Even if he gets admitted to UA, he is still your grandson, right? Don't you recognize me as your grandson? Izuku looked at his grandmother pitifully. How is that possible? You are my favorite grandson. You are much more obedient than your father when he was a child. Grandma touched Izuku's head, and then she took out something that Izuku liked to eat when he was a child from her bag. Izuku's eyes widened when he saw it. Grandma, how did you get this thing? I remember it was very hard to find, right? When you were a child, Grandma was afraid that you would eat too much, so she hid it secretly. Now that you have grown up, Grandma will naturally let you eat it. Here, these are all yours. Grandma handed the bag of food to Izuku. Izuku took the bag and immediately took out a fruit from the bag to eat. It's sour and sweet and it's iced. It's super delicious. As soon as Izuku put the fruit into his mouth, the familiar sweet and sour feeling suddenly came back to his mind. Don't worry, be careful not to choke. By the way, I also brought this. This is a photo of you when you were a child. Grandma took out a small booklet and a small notebook from her bag. This small notebook was given to you by your grandpa. He said it was a special move that could bring your own power to the extreme. He said he must give it to you. I really don't know what he was thinking about. He thinks about those things every day. Grandma's expression became very frustrated. I was supposed to come with him, but he said he was going to do a project on whether quirks could be inherited, so I didn't come. It was really disappointing. Ahaha, Grandpa has a lot of ideas, so it's normal to do something that people don't understand. Izuku responded awkwardly. His grandpa was an old man who was particularly imaginative, and in the academic field, his grandfather's status was not low at all. Forget it, ignore that old man who doesn't understand humor. Izuku, go out with grandma tomorrow. I want to buy a lot of skincare products to piss off that old man. Because of her personality, grandma is already 60 years old, but she has a face of more than 40 years old. It looks like grandma and grandpa had a quarrel and ran away from home. Izuku's eyes twitched slightly. No problem. Tomorrow is Saturday, I'll go shopping with you. Chapter 23, Poor Izuku. Grandma slept in Izuku's room at night, and Izuku slept on the floor. Before Izuku went to sleep, he sent a message in the group chat with his mobile phone. Izuku Midoriya, everyone, I have to go shopping with my grandma who just arrived here tomorrow, so I won't go to the class activities tomorrow. Yurika Okako, oh, so that's it. I wanted Izuku to help us carry our things. Mineta Minoru, tisk, it's your loss if you don't go. We are going to the big mall tomorrow, and there are so many beautiful girls there. Drooling.jpg. Ida Tinya, Izuku classmate, are you sure you don't want to go? Izuku Midoriya, there is no way. Grandma and grandpa had a quarrel and ran away from home and came to us. As the eldest grandson, I have to go shopping with her to make her happy. Kamamura Denki. Ashido Mina. Aoyama Yuga. Mineta Minoru, I didn't expect that grandma, who is so old, would run away from home. Tinya Ida, it's a good idea for Izuku. After we become heroes, we will be very busy and won't have time to accompany our families. In order to avoid regrets in the future, it is also important to accompany our families. Mineta Minoru, why do I feel that Izuku just came up with an excuse to avoid carrying the bag? Izuku Midoriya, absolutely not. Kamamura Denki, then why don't you just bring your grandma to our activity tomorrow? Our activity tomorrow is to go to the supermarket to buy some things. Hibiki Mikio, if you don't want to carry the things, just say so. Why drag Izuku into it? Pulling ears.jpg. Yurika Okako, I agree with this proposal. Tinya Ida, it's a good idea to combine accompanying family and class activities. Do you agree with this idea, Izuku? Izuku Midoriya, this is a great idea. What about the meeting place tomorrow? Katsuki Bakugo, Long Corridor Supermarket, trash, if you don't come tomorrow, I will beat you up. Izuku Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya, baby is scared.jpg. Izuku Midoriya, slip.jpg. Izuku Midoriya finished playing with his phone, then took out the diary and started writing again. Little Izuku, what are you writing? Grandma's head popped out of the bed. Just writing a diary. Izuku gave Grandma a sweet smile. Then when we go shopping tomorrow, Grandma will buy you some clothes. Your closet is full of school clothes and training clothes for going out, and there are no clothes for home or going out. Grandma must give you some nice clothes. Grandma's eyes sparkled, and Izuku suddenly remembered that although his grandma was very good to him, she had a habit that made him particularly uncomfortable, that is, every day he would be bewitched by grandma to wear a lot of strange clothes and take pictures. Okay. Izuku's smile at this time was very forced, and he picked up his phone again to speak in the group. Izuku Midoriya, Can I ask everyone, when my grandma and I go shopping tomorrow, please don't take pictures. Ida Tinya, why? Izuku Midoriya, my grandma loved to dress me in messy clothes when I was little. I guess I can't escape her clutches this time either, PAQ. Okako Yurika, don't worry, we won't take pictures of you with our mobile phones. Toru Hagakure, we will take pictures of you with the SLR camera with super good pixels, he. Kamamura Denki, I'm a little curious about how badly Izuku was tortured by his grandma when he was little. Mineta Minoru, curious +1, Izuku will release the pictures. Izuku Midoriya, I will never release the pictures. That's already my black history. After Izuku Midoriya sent this message, he turned over and went to sleep. The next morning, Izuku got up at 5 o'clock as usual to run. After exercising, Izuku walked into the bathroom with a sweaty body and started to take a shower. I hope there won't be any extra things coming up today. After taking a shower, Izuku ate breakfast and started to prepare to go out with his grandma. At 8 o'clock in the morning, Izuku accompanied his grandmother out of the house, took the bus, and arrived at the Long Gallery supermarket on time. As soon as I arrived at the Long Gallery supermarket, Izuku didn't even have time to say hello to other classmates, and was pulled by his grandmother to go shopping. Mineta Minoru, I just saw Midoriya. He was pulled to the second floor by a woman in her 40s. The woman's breasts were so big. Mineta Minoru was silenced for 1 hour by the administrator Ida Tinya. Ida Tinya, we are now in the center of this supermarket. Other students who haven't arrived, please pay attention. We won't wait any longer. In 3 hours, we will wait for you at the open-air steak restaurant in the center of the first floor of the supermarket. Over. Yurarika Okako, okay, next it's our candid duo. Hagakure Toru, today's candid target is, Izuku classmate. Yurarika Okako, we will bring you real-time tracking reports. Izuku was led by his grandmother into a beauty store with a helpless look on his face. As soon as he entered the beauty store, his grandmother asked Izuku to carry a basket and follow her to catch the cosmetics thrown by his grandmother. Grandma, why do you still buy smoky makeup cosmetics? Smoky makeup is not popular now. I just bought it to annoy your grandpa, so that he won't come to see little Izuku with me, I'll buy this one too. Another cosmetic was thrown over, and Izuku narrowly caught this one. The cosmetic was an eyeshadow pen. When I saw this eyeshadow pen, Izuku's heart suddenly moved. Grandma doesn't want me to wear women's clothes, does she? Yurarika Okako, voice report get. Toru Hagakure, uploading voice, upload completed. Shangming Electric, I really didn't expect that there would be such a willful grandma now. I've learned a lot. Ida Tinya, be careful, don't let Izuku-san find out. Erlang Xiang, wow. Monitor, you have changed. Qingshan Elegance, this is an ungraceful behavior. Bakugo Katsuki, where is that guy Haiku now? Yurarika Okako, we are in the beauty shop on the second floor now. Wait a minute, they are going to the third floor now. I remember the third floor is the clothing area and the photography area. Bakugo Katsuki, I'll go up immediately. Tinya Ida, Bakugo-san. Personality cannot be used here. Bakugo Katsuki, you're so annoying. I can always take the elevator up. Toru Hagakure, Ida-san seems like a nagging mother. Shangming Electric, what? The monitor has changed his gender? Kaminari Electric was banned for 3 hours by Administrator Tinya Ida. Erlang Xiang, applause to Shangming, he perfectly showed us what it means to have trouble come from the mouth. Carrying the cosmetics he just bought, Izuku followed his grandmother to the third floor. As soon as he reached the third floor, Izuku knew that his dark history was about to begin again. Don't be nervous, little Izuku, Grandma is just picking out some nice clothes for you. Grandma said, pulling Izuku into a clothing store. Yurarika Okako, alert alert. Izuku was dragged into the clothing store by his grandma. Toru Hagakure, I'm sneaking into this clothing store, wait, Grandma picked out a suit for Izuku. Get ready for a photo blast. Bakugo Katsuki, where are you now? Yurarika Okako, we are now opposite a clothing store called Suit Pride. It is this clothing store that Izuku and his grandmother entered. Bakugo Katsuki, I see you, I will join you now. Wabuki Miu, why does it feel like Bakugo now is more like a stalking idiot? Erlang Xiang, you are not the only one who feels this way. When Izuku changed into the suit, he remembered that he hadn't taken off the sandbag on his back yet. If he took off the sandbag, the tuxedo suit would become bigger and it would not look good when worn. So he said to the waiter standing outside the locker room. Can you get me a suit that's one size smaller? This one is a little too big for me. Okay, no problem. Toru Hagakure, Izuku suddenly asked for a black tuxedo suit in a smaller size, which extended the photo time by 3 minutes. 3 minutes later, Izuku walked out wearing a black tuxedo. Grandma nodded. As expected, Izuku is the most handsome in formal clothes. Boss, give me a white one too. Toru Hagakure, photo of Izuku in black tuxedo. Toru Hagakure, Izuku looks so cool with his cuffs tied. Erlang Xiang, I didn't expect Izuku to be so handsome in formal clothes. Ashido Sana, super handsome +1. Tinya Ida, I didn't expect Izuku-san to be so handsome sometimes. Kirishima Ajiro, that's right, but he feels so hot-blooded and manly like this. Yurarika Okako, Kirishima, Please leave. Now is the time to blow up Izuku. It has nothing to do with you, a man. Bakugo also saw the photo of Izuku wearing a black tuxedo that was posted in the group, and he also thought Izuku was really handsome at that moment. Grandma, this is okay. Izuku changed into this suit. Grandma bought 2 sets of these clothes. These clothes are not cheap. How is that possible? Grandma still has a lot of clothes that she wants to try on for you. Let's go. Next store. Izuku carried 2 bags and followed his grandmother into the next store resignedly. Chapter 24, Izuku is angry. Izuku was dragged into another clothing store by his grandmother. This store mainly sells some cosplay costumes, which are for all kinds of professions. This time, Grandma won't force you to buy any clothes, but you have to choose 3 clothes by yourself, and then we will go to the opposite side to take pictures. Grandma stood at the door, looking like she would not let you go out before you have chosen the clothes. Okay. Izuku sighed and began to choose clothes. He skipped the current professional clothes and looked directly at the ancient times. He approached a missionary's clothes and took it down. This clothes should be okay, and then Izuku took down another military uniform, and finally he took a suit that he didn't wear during official time. Are these 3 pieces enough? Do you want to buy more? What do you think? Izuku almost wrote the 5 words "I am very unhappy" on his face. Okay, then let's go to the opposite side to take pictures. I have an appointment there. Grandma showed a plan. Yes, Izuku took the clothes and followed Grandma to the photo studio opposite. Toru Hagakure, Izuku is now following his grandmother to the photo studio opposite. I will also sneak in to take photos. No, let's live broadcast the whole process. I can't hold back my desire to show off Izuku. I will open a live broadcast room now. Ida Tinya, come on, I support you. Bakugo Katsuki, what's the live broadcast room number? As soon as he entered the photo studio, Izuku was surrounded by several makeup artists. He had no choice but to sit on the chair and be fiddled with by the makeup artists. This scene was also faithfully broadcast live by Toru Hagakure. Wait a minute, what is this? Izuku suddenly grabbed the hand of a makeup artist, who had a red beauty contact lens on his hand. Decorative beauty contact lens, requested by that lady. Grandma Izuku looked at his grandmother helplessly. Oh, I've taken so many photos of Izuku the little angel. This time, let me take a photo of the dark little Izuku, okay? Grandma clasped her hands together and asked Izuku. Okay, Izuku pouted and let the makeup artist fiddle with him, and put on beauty contact lenses. After putting on makeup, Izuku was like a different person. He put on a military uniform, military boots, and a military cap with an expressionless face. He walked into the shooting site with a serious face, where a whole team of professional cameramen were waiting for him. Okay, now you lower your head and put your hands in the middle. Oh, that's right, lights, lights. The cameraman adjusted the angle and took several photos. The shooting was completed. Then, you pick up your hat with your hands like this, and then pull out a particularly fierce expression. Makeup artist, give this kid a dark circle. After the makeup artist deepened several dark circles, Izuku still couldn't show a fierce smile, which made the cameraman and grandma very troubled. Let's just do this. The cameraman gave Izuku an idea. Do you have someone or something you particularly hate? Then think about that thing, and then put on a ferocious expression. Something you particularly hate. Izuku pinched his chin and thought seriously, and this look was also captured by the cameraman. Things you hate. Izuku thought seriously, and suddenly he thought of the time when he was a child and was laughed at by others for having no personality. The feeling of being laughed at still makes him unforgettable. Get darker, get darker, get darker. Izuku thought so in his heart, and suddenly he raised a wicked smile at the corner of his mouth. Hehe, I remember the things in junior high school and when I was a child. At that time, I really wanted to kill them all. Izuku's smile became more and more evil, and this smile directly shocked the cameraman. What are you doing? Hurry up and take pictures. There was another round of click, click camera sounds. Change your clothes and put on that suit now. Keep that expression. Quick, quick, quick. When Izuku put on the suit, the expression on his face disappeared, even the smile he often showed on his face disappeared. Didn't I tell you to keep that expression? The cameraman was a little angry, but just when he was about to say something about Izuku, he was frightened by Izuku's eyes, which were a kind of lifeless feeling. This kind of lifeless feeling will definitely take particularly good photos. The cameraman said, click, 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 and took 10 consecutive photos. The cameraman was happy, but the grandmother was worried. She had seen this kind of eyes. It was the eyes of little Izuku when he first came. It was so empty and scary. Even his smile was dead. This reminded her of very bad memories. Grandma quickly stopped filming and asked Izuku to go outside with her to relax. Grandma, what's wrong? Don't you want to take pictures anymore? Izuku looked at his grandmother. Yes, let's stop filming and go for a walk outside. Grandma held Izuku's hand, and her warm hand became cold. Well. Okay. Izuku's voice was still warm, but not as sunny as before. Grandma and Izuku walked and stopped, and finally they sat on a bench. Grandma, you seem to be worried about me. I'm fine, really fine. Izuku showed that happy smile again, but Grandma knew that this smile represented his helplessness. Grandma suddenly stretched out her hands and pulled Izuku's face hard, but Izuku was still smiling. Finally, Grandma slapped Izuku's face directly, and Izuku, whose face was swollen, was still smiling. Why don't you cry? You were such a crybaby when you were a kid. Grandma asked Izuku in a crying voice. His mental state is very abnormal now. He must adjust it, otherwise it will affect Izuku's body. Grandma, I can't cry anymore when my tears run dry. Now I still have to live with a smile. Izuku said with a smile, but such a smile made Grandma feel very uncomfortable. Grandma, do we still want to take pictures? No, let's go eat. Grandma finally found a way to divert Izuku's attention. I just saw the steakhouse on the first floor. It's very good. Let's go there for lunch. No problem. Izuku smiled and went downstairs with Grandma in this suit. He didn't even take off his contact lenses. The strange red pupils made Izuku more charming. Itatinya, everyone, pay attention to the dressed-up Izuku is about to arrive on the first floor. If you want to take pictures, go to the open-air steakhouse on the first floor quickly. Yurika Okako, Izuku is super handsome today. Kiro Hibiki, those who haven't seen it are very curious. I'll go to the first floor now. Itatinya, hurry up. Izuku and the others are on the first floor. Ashidomina, oh my god. Izuku is so handsome now. His red eyes are so handsome now. Bakugo Katsuki and Yurika Okako quietly followed Izuku and his grandmother to the first floor. Hello. Izuku extended his hand to greet the waiter. Chapter 25, New Skills. A waiter came over. We want a filet mignon and pasta. Izuku said, taking off his suit jacket. Okay, filet mignon and spaghetti? Come right away. After the waiter took the order, he turned around and left. I don't know if one steak is enough for you. No, Grandma, you eat steak and I eat pasta. After Izuku said this, he stopped talking and closed his eyes to rest. Is one serving of pasta enough? That's enough, I don't really feel like eating right now, Izuku said, opening his eyes and standing up. Grandma, I'm going to wash my hands first and wash my face by the way. Can I throw away these contact lenses? I feel a little uncomfortable. No problem, go ahead, remember to wash up. Okay. Izuku walked into the bathroom, took off his contact lenses, threw them into the trash can, and then wiped his face with water. Phew, it's much better now. Izuku's skin was already very good, but the makeup artists just covered up the pockmarks on Izuku's face. Looking at the familiar version of himself in the mirror, Izuku let out a long sigh of relief. This is the most real version of himself. So you still have to smile more. Everything will go away if you smile. Doesn't all mate laugh often? Izuku patted his face, his eyes gradually became brighter, and there were more smiles on his lips. Walking out of the toilet, Grandma saw the familiar smile on Izuku's face. The familiar Izuku was back. Grandma, hasn't the steak been served yet? Not yet, Izuku, do you want anything to eat? No, I still want to keep my stomach open to eat the pork chop rice made by my mother. Izuku soon started chatting with his grandma again. Yurika Okako, it scared me to death. It was really scary when Izuku stopped smiling just now. Erlang Xiang Xiang, scary +1 feels like a statue that is not angry but powerful. Izuku still looks good when he smiles. Toru Hagakure, when Izuku's smile disappeared in the photo studio, I felt a little sorry for him. Izuku Midoriya. Midoriya Izuku, what's wrong? Yayintaru withdraws a message. Midoriya Izuku, why don't you talk anymore? Midoriya Izuku, let's come out and play. JPG. After a few minutes, when no one responded to him, Izuku Midoriya put down his phone and started eating the pasta in front of him. Toru Hagakure, fortunately, I have fast hands. Tinya Ida, right now, Izuku is having lunch with his grandma. He's not free now. Hagakure-san, please post the picture quickly. Yayintaru, didn't I live broadcast just now? Haven't you seen it? Yurika Okako, forget about the live broadcast, as soon as you saw Izuku-san there, it was so crowded by a group of Izuku fans that you couldn't even get in. Toru Hagakure, fortunately, I made double preparations. I have a video. Frog blowing plum rain, internal communication gua. Ashido Sana, now everyone, hurry up and add the message. Boohoo, a dozen more useless remarks wiped out all the previous ones. Half an hour later, Izuku and Grandma finished their food and started chatting while drinking afternoon tea. Izuku, do you still remember that you had a very good friend when you were at Grandma's place? Of course I remember. I just forgot his name. I still have half of his photo here. Izuku took out the half of the photo from his small bag. I have kept this photo in a small box for a long time. I took it out recently. It should have been taken with him at that time. Grandma picked up the half photo and nodded. I remember the name of that child, shop, or something else, I can't remember clearly. People have bad memory when they get old. I can't remember a little bit, but you will always encounter it, right? Izuku continued to smile, his smile was so sunny. He told me that he wanted to be the number one hero. Izuku looked at the sky, and there were a few clouds floating in the blue sky. I wonder how he is doing now. I miss him a little. I wonder if he still remembers me? An hour later, Izuku sent his grandma into a taxi to the train station. Grandma, please pay attention to safety on the road. You just need to wear more clothes. You're as thin as a bamboo pole. You have to remember to eat more. I got it. Watching the taxi drive away, Izuku took out the photos he had just developed in the photo studio from his bag. It's better to keep it. If Grandma doesn't find it next time she comes, she will be in trouble. Izuku put the dozen or so photos into his bag and took them out of his pocket. He popped a lollipop into his mouth. Candy can make me calm down. Let's go back. Izuku pressed the hat on his head and walked back in the spring breeze. After returning home, Izuku threw all the clothes he bought into the closet. He would never wear these embarrassing clothes. But you can try on this missionary's clothes, and this military uniform. You still have to keep the tuxedo well. As a result, all the clothes were neatly put away by Izuku. Well, now I'm going to go online, read a book, and see if there's anything worth buying. As soon as Izuku opened the web page, a bunch of videos and photos about him suddenly popped up. Hey! These aren't. As soon as Izuku finished watching a video, messages kept popping up on his phone, and then black smoke came out of Izuku's phone. I bought a mobile phone 3 years ago. In order to deal with the sudden explosion of his mobile phone, Izuku used his savings to purchase a new mobile phone. In this case, I can't buy a new All Might figure. Izuku looked at his new mobile phone with a depressed expression, not knowing if he had enough money left. Forget it, it's better not to think so much. I have to go to the group to ask clearly. Izuku opened the class group. Midoriya Izuku, did you take random photos? As soon as I opened the web page, I was bombarded with a bunch of videos and photos. It's a pity that I bought a mobile phone 3 years ago. There was silence in the class group. Izuku Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya, sigh.jpg. Putting down his phone, Izuku sighed, I remember last time, I took a photo with my grandma and it was posted online. It scared me so much that I wore a mask and didn't dare to go out for a whole month. Forget it, let's not worry about it, I won't wear that shameful outfit again anyway. Izuku shook his head and lay on the bed and started reading. I wonder what Grandpa meant by giving me this book. Izuku opened the grandfather's small book and started reading. Early the next morning, Izuku went out early to test his inspiration. If he could succeed, then he would be confident of facing Xiao Sheng head-on. Gather your strength to one point, and then imagine, sword wind, sword wind, sword wind, there you have it. Izuku lifted one foot and struck hard from a distance. As he slashed down, a sharp sword wind suddenly appeared, crossing the sea surface at super fast speed and cutting a horizon. Great! Next are the hands, the power is concentrated in the hands. Izuku tried hard to imagine, and suddenly he thought of the night sword held by the 8 night phantoms. The knight's sword. I feel it. Izuku waved with all his might, and another wave of sword wind passed over the sea. Awesome! Chapter 26, Sports Festival begins. After experimenting with his new skills, Izuku was particularly excited. If these 2 new skills are well trained, they might become one of his trump cards. Besides, maybe I am the only one who can use this ability now. I can eat it all over the world with one move. It's not just a joke. Izuku raised his head and looked at the rising sun. First, I am determined. After returning home, Izuku immediately made a special training plan for himself. He made a lot of preparations in order to win first place in the sports festival. Last year's first event was the rolling ball race, and the first event the year before that was the obstacle race. Obstacle races are held every other year, and this year should be no exception. The first event is confirmed to be okay. The next thing should be to catch and fight each other. Except for Class B and the ordinary class, which need to be vigilant, the other classes should not be too concerned, and there are 3 people I need to be vigilant about the most. Izuku looked at them. To the picture of 3 people on the wall. Xiaosheng, Todoroki Jiao, and Shinsoji. Izuku looked at the 3 of them with a very serious look. Xiaosheng and Todoroki-kun are the 2 most powerful people, and the remaining one is the guy who is very likely to capsize my ship. Izuku took down the photo of Shinsuo and put it on Start Researching at your desk. This classmate's personality is controlled by language. Once you talk to him, you will be controlled by him. Although the personality of the mind control type is very domineering, there are ways to break it. This day was spent in Izuku's research and random thoughts. The next morning, the long-awaited Hero Sports Festival officially kicked off. At this time, Izuku was resting in their lounge, and it would be their turn to play later. Ah, I'm still nervous. Izuku sighed. Mineta Minoru, who was standing next to him, kept writing herringbones on his hands and eating them to relieve his nervousness. Midoriya-san. At some point, Todoroki Jiaozuo stood next to Izuku-san. Todoroki-san, what's wrong? Izuku turned slightly to look at Todoroki Jiaodong, who was standing beside him. Todoroki-san stood beside him and said with a cold expression. Objectively speaking, I am stronger than you. Todoroki said matter-of-factly. Izuku nodded. Todoroki-san's personality is a very powerful dual personality of half hot and half cold, with strong aggression and practicality. Compared with his personality, no personality is too strong. You seem to have attracted All Might's attention, although I don't want to get to the bottom of it. But I will beat you. Oh, the best in the class declares war. Kamiming Denki, who was sitting on the chair, shouted as if watching a show, not caring about the current atmosphere at all. Although I don't know why Todoroki-san you said you wanted to defeat me or something. Izuku shook his hand. You are indeed more powerful. In terms of strength, more than half of the people are no match for you. But, I am not the kind of guy who lets others bully you. Since you have issued a letter of challenge, I will accept it and I will go all out to fight. Hehe, the scene suddenly became exciting. Kirishima Eijiro, who has never known what it means to watch the atmosphere, said with a smile. Okay, stop making trouble, everyone, let's go and show them that we, Class 1A, are not easy to mess with. Squad leader Tinya Ida opened the door to the lounge. Let's go. Everyone walked out of the lounge and walked outside. At this time, the stadium was already packed with people. As the most beautiful DJ in the audience, Mr. Mike was activating the atmosphere. Hero Sports Festival. The biggest battle of the year when the heroes were still chickens. Then let's take a look at the miraculous new star who overcomes difficulties with an iron will and has no problem even if he is attacked by the enemy. Hero Department. First grade. Class A. Students from Class A walked into the stadium under the watchful eyes of the entire audience. Wow, there are so many people. Izuku had a look of fear on his face. He never expected to see so many people here. Whether you can perform to your best in front of a huge crowd, this is also a quality needed to be a hero. The squad leader also looked nervous. Everyone came to the center of the stadium, where there was an iron platform, and standing on it was the first-year referee, 18 Forbidden Heroes Midnight. Okay. Everyone, please calm down. Midnight stood on the iron platform and waved her riding crop. The contestant takes the oath. Come up here quickly. Bakugo Katsuki. In the eyes of everyone, Bakugo Katsuki walked up to the iron platform with an arrogant look. He put his hands in his pockets and shouted with disdain. Swear. I will be number one. And I will do what I say. Xiao Shang is still as arrogant as ever. Izuku curled his lips and looked at Xiao Shang walking down, with sparks of passion in his eyes. This time, Xiao Shang, I will fight you face to face. Heroes pursue speed in everything, so let's start the first project quickly. Midnight and the students all looked at the big screen, where countless projects were scrolling. The first event is, this. The words obstacle race appeared on the big screen. Yes. You guessed it right. Izuku immediately squatted down and untied the sandbags on his legs. Obstacle race, a big melee of 11 classes, the track is the outer perimeter of the gymnasium, about 4 kilometers. A gate of the gymnasium slowly opened, and a signal light hung on the door, beeping. So, now, start. The students from the 11 classes rushed out at the same time and piled up in that door. There are so many people and it's so tight. Izuku also pushed in the crowd. This is the first sieve. Todoroki rushed out at the first time, and used his quirky to stop the people behind him. Yin Yang face, you are dreaming. Bakugo followed closely behind, also using his quirky to fly above the crowd and began to chase the first place Todoroki Shoto. Tisk, everyone is running so fast. Izuku and Minato Minoru squeezed out of the crowd at this time. That's nothing. Look at my trick. Poof. Just when Minato Minoru was about to use his trick, a huge green claw directly knocked Minato Minoru away. What are you doing with the plane again? Izuku narrowly avoided the green giant claw, and then he realized that the enemy in the first stage was the huge robot he encountered when he first entered school. Hey, this is a bit too much, there are too many of them. Although Izuku said this, his footsteps did not stop and rushed into the army of machines. A speed of 30 kilometers should be able to leave all the miscellaneous troops here behind. Izuku's legs kept running. 30 kilometers. Hurricane. Izuku's speed suddenly increased to 30 kilometers. He used his positioning and skills to easily break through the defense line of the giant robot. Keep this speed. Quickly pass the second obstacle. Chapter 27, First Place in Horseback Battle. Izuku ran all the way to the second level, tightrope walking. The earth was hollowed out, leaving only many isolated small islands connected by tightrope. This is an opportunity to show yourself. I wonder how Midoriya Izuku-san, who is the first to come here, will behave. Now is not the time to stop. Izuku jumped directly to a small island. Continue. Continue. Izuku's current state was no different than that of a chicken. After a few more sprints and jumps, Izuku arrived on the opposite ground. It's not time to rest yet. Izuku ran toward the third level like crazy. Oh. Mr. Izuku passed the second level with the first grade again, and there is a big gap between him and the second place Mr. Todoroki Koro. Teacher Mike explained the current situation while explaining the situation. And he spared no effort to provoke those who came after him. TCH, it's pretty fast. Todoroki, who was skating on the wire, looked at Izuku who was still running wildly on the other side and gritted his teeth. He used personality to go even faster, just as Todoroki was skating on the ice. While on the tightrope, Bakugo Katsuki caught his attention by using personality to fly over his head. Trash! Do you think I'm dead? Bakugo was quite unhappy at this time. It turned out that the trash who had been following him could surpass him. Was he looking down on him? Now the rankings have changed. The second place has changed hands. Bakugo Katsuki-san surpassed Todoroki Kokoro-san in one breath. This is really crazy. Now our first place has arrived at the final level, Angry Afghanistan. There are landmines everywhere here. Although the explosions won't hurt anyone, they will definitely scare the piss out of you. It depends on the person. Aizawa Shota, who was sitting next to Mr. Mike and was wrapped in bandages, said softly. Oh, now our number one has stopped, what are you doing? The people behind will catch up soon. I saw Izuku standing in front of the minefield and starting to take small steps at a very fast speed, like a racing car trying to hit its accelerator before going crazy. Oh. The second and third ones arrived at the opposite side at the same time. What are you doing first place? Don't you want the throne? As long as I'm fast enough. The mines can't blow me up. Izuku rushed into the third level with such a cry. His speed was so fast that even if he stepped on the mines, they wouldn't react. 40 kilometers. Explosion. Izuku's speed reached 40 kilometers, and even the tracking camera could hardly keep up with his speed. He's really fast. Hong Xiaodong used his personality to slide an ice path on the minefield with ice. Waste. Bakugu also used his personality like crazy to chase Izuku. Explosions and pink smoke appeared behind the three of them from time to time. Oh. The first tier now are all students from Class 1A, Eraserhead, your class is so strong. How do you teach them? I didn't do anything, they just talked among themselves and started competing with each other. The last 100 meters. The first man to return to the gym at this moment is actually, Izuku Midoriya. I saw the figure of Izuku Midoriya appearing in the gym. He was the first one back in the gym. I'm number 1. Izuku shouted with sweat all over his head. The atmosphere in the whole place was boiling, and they screamed to welcome the arrival of number 1. Sitting in the audience, All Might clasped his hands together. I was worried about you before. I'm really sorry. After a few minutes, the other students came back. The rules of the obstacle course were that only the first 42 people would be admitted. For those after that, Teacher Midnight said he was very sorry, but you were all eliminated. Now there are 42 people who have passed the preliminary examination, and the official competition is next. From now on, the media camp will participate more and more enthusiastically, cheer me up. Teacher Midnight waved her hand riding crop. The next second project is the big screen continued to rotate again. A horse riding battle once every 3 years. This is it. Horseback fighting. Yes, guessed right again. Wait, this horse riding battle is based on the overall score, which means that this is an event that can only be defeated at one time. I have to quickly find some reliable teammates. So the score for the first place is 1 million. It's over. Izuku looked shocked, everyone's eyes were fixed on him, and an inexplicable pressure pressed on Izuku's shoulders. The pressure was indescribably heavy. Next, we will give everyone 15 minutes to form a team. Please hurry up and form a team. Damn it, I need some foreign help now. Izuku had thought about what foreign aid he was looking for. He raised his head and looked at Chang'an, who was also looking for his teammates. Classmate Chang'an, can you be my teammate? Of course, no problem, Lord of Darkness. Then what's left is a teammate who can let us fly in the sky. Leary, do you have a choice? Not yet. Do you have a place over there? Of course, I need a figure here who can make me light. Suddenly a girl wearing strange clothes ran up to Izuku. Let me join your team. First place. Don't show up suddenly and scare people. But by the way, who are you? Izuku was frightened. I'm Fa Muming from the auxiliary support class. Although I'm not familiar with you, let me borrow your ranking. 15 minutes passed quickly, and everyone present found their teams. The battle for first place would soon begin. The competition time was half an hour. At the end, whoever had the most points would be the first. Izuku put on a headband with his score written on it, 100-0325. Well, now count down to 3, 3, 2, 1. Start. As soon as the game started, 2 horses rushed towards Izuku and his team. Tisk, get ready to take off. Izuku pressed the button, and the spray bag on his back started to start, taking them into the sky. The sky is my home court. Izuku made an archery gesture, and the green arc formed a bow shape in the crackling sound, and an arrow appeared in Izuku's right hand. Arrow 1. Izuku released his right hand, and a sharp arrow flew straight at a horse rider. The rider on that horse was Toru Hagakure. The arrow shot the headband on Toru Hagakure's head to the ground, and then was picked up by the black shadow who had been prepared for a long time. The black shadow like a bird was the quiz of Chang'an. What's going on? A new ability again. All Might looked at Izuku flying in the air, this kid is much more playful than I thought. It's time to land, everyone get ready. Yurika Okako landed the whole horse steadily on the ground. If they can't do it, let me do it. A horse composed of Class B rushed here, followed by another horse composed of Shoji Mizo and Mineta Minoru also rushed here. Arrow 2. 2 arrows were fired in succession, one shot scattered the horse of Class B, and the other shot forced Shoji back. This is not a solution, take off. Press the button again. Izuku's horse flew up again, and only 5 minutes had passed. Waste. Not long after Izuku flew up, Bakugo suddenly rushed up, and from his expression, he wanted to give Izuku a slap in the face. Xiao Shang. Izuku unconsciously protected the headband on his head with his hands, and a black shadow rushed towards Bakugo. Chapter 28, The horse riding battle ends and the head-to-head fight begins. The black shadow stopped Bakugo-san, who sat back on his horse with a look of displeasure. Bakugo, let us know when you fly next time. Kirishima was a little unhappy. As a rider, how could he abandon his horse and ignore it? So annoying. Izuku, turn over the headband that represents the score and put it on your neck. Chang'an handed the other headband to Izuku. Now we have to be on guard against more than just Xiao Sheng. The black shadow is monitoring the blind spots we can't see. Then, I'm going to zoom in. Izuku made another archery gesture, but this time the bow was obviously larger than before. Izuku's left hand holding the bow began to turn red, and the hand holding the arrow turned slightly purple. A swarm of arrows. The big arrow with green arcs rushed into the sky and exploded like fireworks. Dozens of smaller arrows than before fell around Izuku, forming a protective net. The next step is to stand your ground. Is it just you? 2 more horses rushed over. 2 arrows. 2 arrows passed by, and the 2 heads were brought to the hand. It's quite easy like this. Leary said leisurely, there are only 15 minutes left in the game, it's easy. It won't be easy. Be prepared, the 2 enemies are about to be in position. Izuku raised his bow and arrow again. Now everyone, cheer up. Always be ready to take off. Izuku's eyes were fixed on the 2 horses still fighting in the distance, that was Xiao Sheng and Todoroki-kun. The 2 of them are formidable enemies. Chang'an said a rare and accurate statement. Coming. Suddenly, the 2 fighting horses suddenly changed direction and rushed towards Izuku. 5 arrows. 5 green arrows flew towards the 2 horses, but they were all stopped. It really doesn't work? Lift off. Pressing the button again, Izuku and others flew into the sky. Fichu, don't even think about running away this time. Your score belongs to me. Both of them look so fierce. Izuku almost held his head and cried wildly. This is not your style, force the 2 of them back first. A swarm of arrows. Another swarm of arrows fired, and the 2 of them were forced to retreat. The consumption of the arrow group is too great. I may only be able to fire 3 or 4 more rounds before I lose my strength. Then redeploy your tactics. There are still 5 minutes left. Anything can happen in these 5 minutes. It's falling and starting to replan the combat deployment. Arrow roar. There was no green arc of arrows, only a chilling sound of arrows. The wind pressure directly shook the ground into rocks. Izuku and the 4 of them stood on the highest stone. You can't move around now, Black Shadow. Keep an eye on Xiao Sheng and Todoroki-kun. No. The battlefield was divided, and for a while the Black Shadow could not find Bakugo and Todoroki. Where are you looking? Trash. First place is mine. 2 voices rushed towards Izuku's back along with 2 extremely terrifying attacks. I've been waiting for you for a long time. I saw that the bow and arrows in Izuku's hand almost merged into a solid body. The arrow was on the string and had to be fired. Arrow. The moment the bow and arrow flew out, a strong wind pressure directly knocked away the 2 people who were attacking. Time's over. Izuku retained his number 1 spot. His hands were slightly purple, but his face was extremely excited, like a child who had just gotten a lollipop, smiling very sweetly. We are number 1. Izuku's voice was still loud. After the game, Izuku said hello to other students and went to the therapy girl for treatment, so he did not participate in the subsequent entertainment activities. When he returned to the competition venue, it was almost noon. Hey, it does still hurt. I'm really grateful to the therapy girl, but I have to go eat quickly now. Izuku waved his hand. Just as he was about to go to lunch, he was pulled down by Todoroki-san. In the passage. Todoroki-san, why did you bring me here? If you don't go to the cafeteria, it will be too late. Izuku looked at Todoroki-kun in front of him with a little fear. He could feel that Todoroki-kun's mood was the same as that of Xiao Sheng. The weather is uncertain. Todoroki-kun is so scary at this time. Izuku thought, and a stiff smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Your pressure before almost made me break my oath. Todoroki suddenly said. Whether it was the arrow group before or the arrow evil after, he almost made him use the power on his left side, which belonged to that bastard. Guy power. Besides, your power is very similar to All Might's. It's coming. Izuku's face twitched slightly. Are you the illegitimate son of All Might? Third option. No. That's because, even if it's an illegitimate child, if I deny it, you won't believe it. It's really not what you think. Izuku he hurriedly denied it. It's really not what you think. This admits that there is some kind of relationship between you and All Might. You know my father is Andvar. I know, but I don't want to know now. The number 2 hero of 10,000 years, if you carry something from All Might, then I will defeat you even more. A very grumpy guy. Izuku scolded Andava in his mind for no reason, and Izuku didn't listen at all to what he said after that. It doesn't matter if you don't tell me. No matter what kind of All Might you are, I will defeat you with my right half and waste your time. Todoroki walked out of the passage. Izuku looked at his back as he walked out, and unconsciously walked out as well, wanting to say something. I, in fact, have always been receiving help from others. All Might is, and so is that mysterious man. Including the battle just now, it was with their help that I was able to get first place. Izuku touched his hand. I got to this point with the help of others. Suddenly, Izuku remembered his mother's smiling face. All Might, I want to be like him, so I must be strong enough to be the first. Compared to you, this reason may not be so great. But I can't live up to their help. I will also defeat you. Another small figure appeared in Izuku's mind, no matter what, I will become a hero and meet you. Bakugo hid in the passage, listening to the conversation between Izuku and Todoroki, and his face became unhappy again. After lunch, Izuku walked towards the stadium while studying tactics. If I fight Shinso, I can't talk to him. I can prevent his quirk by not talking to him, but my quirk won't let me do that. His quirk is really tricky. Izuku scratched his head and walked back to the lounge. The afternoon battle was a one-on-one fight, so we had to be careful. Chapter 29, Battle. In the first battle of the afternoon, Izuku fought against the guy he was most wary of, the Shinso user. Standing on the battle stage, Izuku looked at the Shinso user opposite him with a serious face. Then, the first battle. Begin. Hey, I haven't asked you what your name is yet. The Shinso user stepped back, trying to avoid Izuku's attack. Deku. No sound came out of Izuku's mouth, but the Shinso user heard it. What kind of ability is this? I practiced ventriloquism when I had nothing to do. Izuku practiced ventriloquism very well. Your personality is to control people through dialogue, and dialogue is through your mouth, so why don't I use my mouth? This skill of yours is also very buggy. Izuku grabbed the heart user by the collar and threw him out of the field. Midoriya Izuku. Entering the second round. The time is just right, otherwise I might have lacked oxygen. Well done. Izuku said, clapped his hands and walked off the field. Super strong. Xincao's envoy said and walked off the field, this guy is stronger than I thought. Izuku walked off the field and as he walked into the lounge he took a lollipop out of his pocket and popped it into his mouth. Are you really still nervous? Izuku said and sat on the chair in the lounge. How are we going to fight Todoroki-san in the future? His abilities are too strong, and it seems he can't use the abilities of the other half of his body. An extremely powerful attack, allowing him to use that power unconsciously? No, you are not yet proficient in using All Might's power, you still have to convince him. Can you go all out after convincing him? I have a new idea. As expected, I still want to use all his power. Izuku's phone on the table suddenly rang, it was a text message. Long time no see. I saw you on TV. You are so handsome. 057984. Izuku paused when he saw the familiar number, then began to reply. Aren't you in China? Why are you back when you have time? 057983. There is only one digit difference between their numbers. As a personalityless guy, it is hard to imagine that the meeting between the two of them started by admitting a wrong number. Not yet, I have settled in China, it's really great here. Little Izuku, your idea is really great. Do you want to come and play too? Let's wait until my summer vacation. By the way, sister, where will you settle down? Hainan Island. It's really great here that you can wear a swimsuit every day. You can also see a lot of handsome guys, my rotten soul has already been burning. Ahem. Izuku coughed a few times. The god sister he recognized had a strange transvestite habit and was also a fujoshi. Sister, won't the book you wrote be banned in China? You underestimate me, Izuku, your sister is also a best-selling novelist after all. My sister overcame this difficulty easily. Sister is awesome. Izuku and his god sister had a tacit agreement not to mention the fact that Izuku had a personality. By the way, Izuku, I sent you a set of clothes. Remember to wear them. I don't want to talk about it in advance. Izuku pouted, this god sister liked to change his clothes as much as his grandmother. Okay, the next battle is with Todoroki-san. Now think of any tricks. Although his power is very powerful, it has its limits, right? Wouldn't it be nice to just push him to his limit and defeat him? No, I feel. Izuku looked at his feet. If he was wandering on the edge of the abyss before, then Todoroki now is half outside the prison and half inside. In prison, all he has to do is break the prison. So, now it's my turn to save others? Are you kidding? Just be yourself. Izuku shook his head and walked out of the lounge. It was time for him to play. Izuku, who was walking in the passage, suddenly met Todoroki's father, Andava. Looking at this guy who didn't know why he was so unhappy, Izuku didn't give him a good look. Oh, I found it. Andvar looked at Izuku with an interesting look. I've seen your active performance on the court. You really have an outstanding personality. In terms of strength alone, it's already a strength that can rival All Might. Sorry, I have something else to do. Izuku lowered his head and walked around Andava. My Jiaodong is responsible for surpassing All Might. The battle with you is a very interesting laboratory for him. Please be sure not to make the game too ugly. Tisk, if you can't surpass yourself, why don't you let future generations surpass you? I'm not All Might, and Todoroki-san is not you, Andava. In this battle, the two of us will go all out. Izuku said as he walked towards the gym. You're finally here. Todoroki narrowed his eyes as he watched Izuku walking onto the field. So, do you still plan to use half of your strength? Izuku's voice was so low that only he could hear it. Now it's a duel between two high-scoring players. Midoriya Izuku vs Todoroki, get ready. The bodies of the two began to tense up. Let the fight begin. Both sides decided to use all their strength to defeat their opponents at the moment the fight began. It would be too dangerous to let that power run freely. Open it directly. You have to dodge the first attack anyway. The moment Izuku gave the order to start fighting, he began to constantly change his position and ran towards Todoroki. Don't let him get close. Todoroki stamped his foot, and the huge icicle flew towards Izuku. This is wrong. Izuku knocked the icicle away with one kick. It's so numb. Izuku held his right foot and jumped on the spot. And it's so cold. Sure enough, let's try another method. Izuku chose to stay where he was. He stretched out his hand and began to deal with Todoroki seriously. Tisk, are you looking down on me? Hong Xiaodong stepped on the floor again, and another large bunch of icicles rushed towards him. Ah, Todoroki-kun is really powerful. Izuku gathered his power into one finger. Boom! The icicles were cleared instantly. There are 9 more chances. Izuku's eyes became serious. Are you playing a protracted war? Another icicle rushed over. Boom! It was cleared again. 8 more times. I will end the battle quickly. Todoroki suddenly rushed over and froze Izuku's feet with an icicle. Too close. Izuku had no choice but to use a fist in exchange for Todoroki-kun's retreat. Boom! This impact directly forced Mr. Hong back. Tisk, my left hand is useless, but my right hand still has 3 chances. Izuku lowered his head and calculated. Now just passive defense has made you so embarrassed. Todoroki-kun said while exhaling. I'm sorry, but thank you, Midoriya. It's thanks to you that my dad is so angry. His expression is so ugly now. Todoroki looked at his father who was standing on the viewing platform with a bad expression, and then used the icicle. Where are you looking? Izuku used 3 fingers to hit the most powerful blow this time, almost knocking Todoroki out of the field. Personality is also a physical ability. There is a limit to the cold air your body can withstand, right? Izuku's purple hands trembled slightly. And, couldn't you solve this problem by using the heat on your left side? Everyone is fighting seriously, trying to win, getting closer to the goal, and becoming the number 1. Want to win with only half your strength? I haven't been hurt by you once. Izuku raised his head and stared at Todoroki Jiaodong. If that's all, you might as well give up. Izuku said, rushing towards Todoroki-kun. Tch. Todoroki-kun also rushed towards Izuku, and the two sides started a hand-to-hand fight. As expected, has your body become sluggish after overuse? Are you still unwilling to use the other half of your body? If so, then I will surpass you. Izuku punched Todoroki's stomach, and Todoroki-jun flew directly 2 meters away. Todoroki-jun's memories began, including his disgusting father, terrifying mother, and the burns on his face. He struggled to sit up. Let dad. That's your own power, isn't it? Izuku's voice was soft, but it was still heard by Todoroki Jiaodong. He was stunned on the spot. He suddenly thought of the Ulu that his mother and he watched when he was a child. Matt's talk show. Personality will indeed be passed on from parents to children, but, what is really important is not the inheritance itself. What is important is to realize that your own flesh and blood must make your own decisions. Whatever you want to do, just do it. His mother's words echoed in Todoroki-jun's mind. Boom! The other half of Todoroki's body suddenly caught fire. That's cool. Well, now is the time to get serious. A smile appeared on Izuku's lips. Are you still laughing? You obviously want to win so much, but you actually give your opponent timely help. Who are you kidding? In the flames, Mr. Hong was also laughing. Now that you are complete, I shouldn't hide anything. Izuku wiped the blood from his face with his arm. Knight. Heavy armor. Izuku's whole body was emitting green arcs of electricity. The arcs were constantly spliced together, gradually forming the appearance of a piece of heavy armor. Knight. Heavy sword. A green sword appeared in Izuku's already purple hands. Why does this guy do so many tricks? Even All Might, who gave Izuku his power, was a little shocked. Next, let's fight with all our strength. Chapter 30, Naming the Hero. Green electric arcs continuously hit the protective shield composed of ice and fire. What's wrong? Why don't you dare to call me? Izuku's voice sounded a bit arrogant. Tch, this guy's armor is really thick. Todoroki was helpless. Even with the strength of his left side, Izuku was still being pressed down and beaten. Oh, so it's because of the armor. Izuku nodded after hearing Todoroki's complaints. Then I will put away this armor. The arc armor that wrapped Izuku inside slowly disappeared. There is a chance. The twin dragons of ice and fire suddenly shot from Todoroki-kun's hand towards Izuku. The power of protection turns into the courage to attack, and the heroic heart responds to my strength. The green sword in Izuku's hand increased in size again. Ape. Slap. The green ape was slapped on the field. The field was directly cracked, and the wind pressure directly blew out the ice and fire dragons. What a powerful wind pressure! Hong Xiaodong couldn't resist the super powerful wind pressure and was blown away. Fu. Izuku's arms also turned purple, but he still stood there strong. Winner. Midoriya Izuku. At this time, Izuku was completely unconscious and stood there relying solely on his confused will. When Teacher Midnight announced that he was the winner, a smile appeared on his lips and he fell down. If I faint now, I won't have to fight Xiao Sheng. I can still get the 3rd position. The plan goes through. When Izuku woke up, just as he thought, he successfully got the 3rd place. Chang'an, who was originally going to fight him, immediately gave up when he heard that he was playing Izuku. I don't want to fight with the knight, that guy is too crazy. Chang'an and his shadow said so. Well, anyway, I won a 3rd place, and I've made a profit. Izuku thought as he stood on the 3rd place podium. And this award is a medal given by All Might. Make a lot of money. Izuku looked excitedly at All Might, who was about to award him a medal. You did a great job this time. That silver medal should have been given to you. No, no, as a knight, humility is also necessary. A bronze medal is a bronze medal. At least it is better than a gold medal like Xiaosheng's. Izuku looked at Bakugo Katsuki, who was tied there in first place. I see, then this bronze medal is your reward this time. I hope you can keep up your efforts. All Might, can you hug me? Izuku made a small request to All Might with a red face. Of course, no problem. All Might naturally satisfied Izuku's small request. Dad. The sports festival was over, and school had a 2-day holiday. Izuku spent these 2 days with difficulty because his hand was not healed yet. The fork suddenly became very difficult to use, and I couldn't write a diary or do training. It was too bad. Izuku struggled to use a pen to write down what he had experienced in the past 2 days. By the way, my hand should be fine tomorrow, but I have to go to class tomorrow. Izuku looked out the window boredly. He couldn't even go out because of his injured hand in the past 2 days. Dudualala, this is my sister's text message. Izuku's performance on the playing field was so amazing, I really want to fly over and kiss you right now. There's no need to kiss me. I'll have to rely on my sister to take care of me when I go to Hainan. Your little mouth is so sweet. By the way, the things I sent should arrive tomorrow, so be careful to put them away. Yes. Izuku twitched. I still don't know what kind of clothes my sister will send, please don't send them to class. It was raining the next morning, so Izuku had no choice but to take the train. Well, it's so crowded here. Izuku squeezed toward the car at the back while playing with his phone. Excuse me, are you Midoriya Izuku-san? I am, what can I do for you? It's indeed Midoriya-san. The celebrity effect came into play here. Oops, I tripped. If I don't hurry up, I'll be late. Izuku ran into the school with a helpless expression. At 7:30 in the morning, Izuku came to the class. At this time, there were already classmates in the class. I was stopped by a large group of people this morning, and they asked me if I was in the hero department. Me too. Me too. Those adults are really annoying. No matter what, we have gained attention, gained reputation, and gained experience in playing against others. This session of ours is the most profitable one. Why doesn't anyone ask me? I work very hard too. Minato was jumping over there. Forget it, you perverted guy. Erlang Xiang pulled out both earphones. It looks like everyone has been noticed, which is good. Izuku said quietly, sat back down, and began to take out the books for today's class. There is an intelligence class today, and the head teacher is here. I don't know what he will talk about. Okay, it's time for class. Everyone, hurry up and sit back in your seats. Yes, the students all sat back in their seats, waiting for the arrival of teacher Shota Aizawa. It's class, sit down quickly, today's class is very important. Teacher Shota Aizawa's face is no longer bandaged, and there is a deep scar on the left side of his face. Teacher. Is your face okay? Ah, that old woman bandaged too much. Teacher Aizawa touched the scar on his face. Okay, this hero intelligence class is a little special. Special? Is there another quiz? Ah, I wonder when my sister's stuff will be delivered. About the drafting of the hero name, hero code name. The whole class went crazy, finally something exciting came. Ah, hero name, I'd better forget it since I'm not good at naming. Izuku collapsed on the table, thinking boredly. Your hero name will be remembered by the world, so think of a hero name for me. At this time, the door of Class 1A was opened again. It was the 18+ hero Midnight, and today's outfit was also too much. Then we will distribute the name boards. After writing your names, you can come up and read out your names. Of course, we will not accept names that are too abnormal. Tisk, willful adult. Minato said. Ah, you still haven't thought of a name. Izuku took the erasable pen and writing board that were distributed and wrote down all the names he had thought of using. These names are absolutely not okay. Izuku closed his eyes and erased all the names written on the board. Let's use a pseudonym. Izuku wrote on the board. Jonah, Deku, Puppet, or. Izuku pointed at the names on the board. Let's use this one. Izuku nodded, erased Jonah's pseudonym, and then arranged DEKU and puppet up and down, and finally wrote the word waste at the bottom corner. That's it. Izuku nodded and took the board to the stage. Chapter 31, Naming an Express Box. My hero name is this. Izuku revealed his hero name. Waste Hero Puppet? Izuku, are you serious? The others were immediately shocked when they saw the name Izuku chose. No matter how you think about it, it should be a name like All Might. This name is a bit unacceptable to us, said Miro Hibiki, touching the plug on his ear. Why do you say Waste Hero? Because I am a waste. Izuku scratched his head and walked off the stage. Waste Hero? This name is not nice. Midoriya-san, you should change your name. Midnight Teacher also rejected this name. Then don't have this title, just be a puppet. Izuku threw the title casually. Waste. This class ended quickly with the noise of the crowd. After that, with the explanation of Shota Aizawa, they also knew that they were about to embark on their first professional practice activities. So, almost all the students in the class will be led by professional heroes to carry out professional practice activities, except for a few people. However, the remaining few people will also be led by the hero agency that they have signed a contract with. That's it, class is over now. During the break, Izuku looked at his hero name. Puppet that breaks free from the string, a puppet that can walk on its own will. Do you want to join any agency, Izuku-kun? Because no agency wants to accept me for the time being, so I want to. Izuku-kun. Can you come out for a while? What's wrong? A few minutes later, Izuku and All Might were sitting in the office. That's it, my teacher plans to train you to be a stronger warrior. All Might said with trembling legs. All Might's teacher. I have never seen him before, what kind of person is he? Izuku was excited. He must be a super powerful hero to be able to train a symbol of peace like All Might. He is Gran Torino, a pretty scary guy. Izuku returned to the classroom with the paper with the address on it. Hey. This is Izuku's personal belongings, you can't touch it. I saw Shiro Hanta, Ida Tinya, and Kirishima Ajiro pulling Bakugo Katsuki away from Izuku's table, and even Todoroki Shoto next to him was on guard. What's wrong? Izuku, you're finally back. A courier delivered one of your packages here before. Bakugo got mad when he saw the delivery man. He wanted to see what was inside no matter what, and he couldn't stop him. Get out of here, idiot. Who wants to see what's inside? Bakugo looked at Kamimura Denki with an unhappy face. But I also want to know what's inside that package. Izuku, can you open it and take a look? Yurika Okako put her hands together and asked Izuku. I want to know too. Miu also looked interested. I saw the name of the delivery man before. It's a girl's name, and it was sent from China. I really want to know what's inside. Hagakure Toru said energetically. It can't be something that's banned for 18+. If Izuku has it, share it with everyone. Mineta Minoru was still so lewd, and then he was slapped by Erlang Xiang. You pervert. Don't even think about it. But I'm also curious about the things in that courier box. Is it as elegant as me? Aoyama-kun still thinks elegance is the most important. Well, since everyone is so curious, I'll open it and show it to everyone. Izuku walked to the courier box. La, it's really something sent by Coco. Izuku looked at the name on the courier list and smiled. Sister? Tisk, which stupid woman would recognize a loser like you as her brother? Xiao Sheng snorted. Of course it's the sister who is also a loser. As a loser, could it be that sister? Then I'll open it. Izuku tore off the tape that sealed the courier box, and then opened the courier box. Everyone leaned forward to see more things. This is the letter my sister gave me. Izuku picked up the thing on the top. Izuku, can you please read this letter? Although this may violate privacy, we are really curious. Ida Tinya put his hands together and asked Izuku. Okay. Izuku opened the envelope and took out the letter. Then I'll start, dear Jonah. Wait a minute, Jonah. That's a pseudonym of mine. Don't worry about it for now. I'll continue reading. Dear Jonah, it's been 2 years since you left me. I can't forget your cute expression when you came here to play. The angelic smile made me feel warm, and even the earliest unpleasantness was swept away. Do you still remember the agreement you and I made? Yes, my sister has always remembered this promise. Although I don't know when you got personality, as a sister with no personality, I am really happy for you. When I saw your brave performance in the sports festival, my sister is I'm quite proud, because I can brag to others that this is my younger brother. By the way, since you have already shown off your skills at the sports festival, your childhood playmate must be able to see it, right? You have been telling me here that he will definitely be admitted to heroing. I still have half of your photo, but don't lose it. You once said that it is a token of you and him. Also, since you have been so impressive at the sports festival, as my sister, I also have a reward for you. The clothes in this express box, my sister's recent photos and my sister's newly published novel are all given to you by your sister. It's a gift. You must put on some clothes and send a photo to your sister. Come on, Sister Coco. Izuku took a long breath after saying so much. His mouth was thirsty. Sister, it's true that she can write so much, and she also has recent photos. I remember that my sister was in Hainan Island recently, so recent photos. Izuku reached out and reached into the express box again. He touched a black book. Coco's recent photo book. Izuku opened the page with curiosity. Sure enough, sister is still the same. This book also needs to be sealed. Let us take a look before sealing it. Mineta Minoru grabbed the recent photo book and opened it. Kaminari Denki, who came over consciously, started to read. As soon as they opened the first page, the two of them became angry and spurted blood from their noses. It's too majestic. It's too slim. It's like a devil. Shang Ming was killed in battle and could not rise again. This is not only D. This is simply Z level, but also this temperament, this appearance. I hate you, Izuku. Mineta Minoru was killed in battle and could not rise again. Is it as exaggerated as you said? Yurika Okako picked up the book of recent photos and saw the first page. Her face immediately turned red and smoke came out of her head. Really, so beautiful. Yurika Okako used her tenacity to turn the photo book to the second page. Hey? The photos after this are not that kind of photos anymore. They are all photos of the sister taking Izuku around. As soon as she turned to the second page, the blush on Lyri's face dissipated, and she looked carefully those photos. And a large part of these photos were photoshopped of Izuku-san. What's going on? Well, I once asked my sister to take some photos for me in China, and then it became like this, but my sister usually sends them around the Chinese New Year. Why this year, right? Maybe my sister will issue one during the Chinese New Year this year. What? Another one will be released. The two people who couldn't get back up were resurrected on the spot. You two, stop looking at me like that. This is the only possibility. Izuku waved his hands quickly. Two perverts. Go to hell. Erlang Xiang won, and the pervert duo was completely defeated. That's right, Izuku, your sister seems to have brought you some clothes, right? Oh Then you can try it on, it might look pretty good. Okako Yurika and Toru Hagakure took out their mobile phones at some point, with a rather ominous light shining in their eyes. I'm just saying, put it on quickly, put it on quickly. The crowd was booing. TCH, no matter what you wear, you're still a loser. Bakugo Katsuki said, but he also wanted to see what Izuku would look like wearing the clothes in the box. Only Todoroki-kun stood there trembling. There. No. It can't be, it's a lie, half of the photos. Todoroki-san seems to be about to collapse at this moment. Okay, since everyone wants to see me, I will wear it for everyone to see, but please don't take pictures this time. I won't be filming, so don't worry. We will broadcast it live. That's it. Izuku, just give up. I will never let go of your banner. Both are devils. Then I'll take it out. Izuku took out the clothes his sister sent him. Sure enough, it's from the snow. Izuku was a little happy. In the snow. Yes, last year my sister sent me a rainforest combat uniform. This time it's a snow uniform. My sister is interested in it. Izuku said to everyone while wearing it. Sister Cao Cao is a transvestite, but she is very supportive of my choice, so she always remembers my favorite clothes for me at the time. Ho, are you sure? Izuku-san. Yurika Okako took out another set of clothes from the express box. This set of clothes looked like a maid outfit at a glance. I take it back, but I will never wear this dress. His words reveal his determination, but can Izuku stick to his heart under the requests, forces, of everyone? I said I won't wear it, so I won't wear it. Chapter 32, Understanding the Conversation with My Sister. Izuku stuck to his heart despite everyone's request, which was actually a forced request, and did not put on that shameful costume. Stop forcing me, I will only wear this one. Izuku said and zipped up his coat. At this time, except for his head, which was still a normal color, other parts of Izuku were not white. Just black. The last thing is this. Izuku put a holster on his right leg and hung a toy gun there. It looks okay this way. Izuku scratched his head. Izuku looks quite handsome like this. He's so handsome, okay? It was a blast. It's just so-so. It's just a look-alike. How can it be repaired? Still couldn't get him to put on a maid outfit. Hey, you two are really devils. Trash, still trash. It's really handsome, I'm much more handsome than him, but I'm really blind that there are still people who like him. You must be jealous, hee hee. Izuku-san's sister seems to know Izuku very well. Can you tell me how you met your sister? Ida said with his hands clasped together. Izuku-san's negotiation skills are stronger than I thought, but if I can take this opportunity to let Izuku-san put on a maid outfit. Class leader, you have lost your character. Come back and pick it up quickly. Pick up whatever you want and don't want it anymore. Actually, it's not a big deal. This matter started when I was 12 years old. Come on, come on. Pay attention to taking notes. I remember that was that day. Izuku began to look up and remember. That day I met my sister under the sunset. That day I was beaten badly by Xiao Sheng, and my head was bleeding. Everyone stared at Bakugo. Wouldn't your conscience hurt if you hit the little angel? He also beat people until their brains bleed, which was too much. Bakugo looked confused. When did I beat this loser's brain to bleed? I didn't follow Xiao Sheng that day. I walked alone on the way home. Because I couldn't go back and face my mother in the state I was in, so I walked in a small park near the school with I washed my face with the running water over there. It was at that time that I met my sister. She was as beautiful then as she is now. She was sitting on the swing in the small park, her eyes were downcast, and her eyes were full of death. Izuku recalled carefully. Then, what then? Everyone stared at Izuku. Afterwards, I asked my sister for a tissue to wipe the blood off my face. Why did you bleed so much? My sister asked me while holding a tissue. Maybe it's because I have no personality, everyone thinks I'm a waste, and waste is used as a punching bag and for people to vent their anger on. That's what I answered at the time. So that's it, then why are you still laughing? Because All Might is smiling. He is the #1 hero. I want to be like him, so I love to laugh. By the way, why are you sitting here? I'm a guy with no personality just like you. People in my family don't like me very much. That's it. I sat on the swing next to my sister and chatted with her until the evening. After that, my sister and I changed our phone numbers, and my sister gave me a nickname, Jonah. After that, we kept in touch. Until the summer vacation the year before last, I went to play with my sister, so I didn't spend the entire summer vacation with Xiao Sheng. Wait a minute, loser, let me ask you, did you see who hit you that time you were beaten? I didn't see it very clearly, or I saw it clearly and was knocked unconscious. I just remember that he and another person were holding a wooden baseball bat. So that's it, it's not Bakugo's fault. Everyone nodded. During the summer vacation, my sister told me that she wanted to develop abroad. She said she was going to the country next door, China, to travel and write books. Now she is a best-selling author in her country. Izuku narrowed his eyes happily. Although my sister's books are a bit strange. I have never been abroad, so I asked my sister to use my photos for Photoshop. That's it. Izuku ended his story. By the way, I remember it was mentioned in the previous letter that Izuku-kun's sister sent her new book, right? Can you let me have a look? No problem. Izuku took out the new book from the delivery box and handed it to Yurika Okako, and the girls gathered around. This book is actually written by a good-for-nothing brother. Okako Yurika opened her eyes and looked at the author of this book. Name. What's wrong? Izuku was a little confused. Is his god sister very powerful? Not only is she amazing, she is simply a god. Since her debut, every book she wrote has been well received, especially the book Assassin and Grass from the year before last, which was so popular. It has always been ranked in the top 5 among women's novels. Won the gold medal for women's fiction last year, but you haven't heard of it. Oh, that's the one you're talking about. Actually, my sister and I wrote that novel together. A piece of creation. Well, my sister liked ninja heroes very much at that time. For her writing, I made her a purple ninja outfit. I was so tired at that time. My sister liked to wear ninja clothes and write on the beam since then. Oh, yes, I remember that my sister hung on the beam for most of the day to come up with the catchphrase of the protagonist of that book. It was me who helped her out. The catchphrase at that time was, "The souls under the sword are all grass." This sentence is too murderous, so I changed the catchphrase to, "The people killed by the ninja are all dead leaves covering the green grass." My sister said that I have a talent for writing. This is the same tone as the interview with the waste teacher. She also said that there was someone who helped her write this book. It turned out to be you. All the girls, including the 8 million students, looked at Izuku with light in their eyes. Why are you looking at me like that, Izuku didn't know what was wrong. When he saw the eyes of these girls, he immediately squatted down with his head in his hands. Don't hit me. Well, little Izuku has been beaten into a conditioned reflex, Bakugo-san, you have to take responsibility. Tisk, waste it. Izuku. Deku. Izuku. No, I still have to. Recover your spirit, Todoroki-san. That. Izuku-san. Yamamoto touched Izuku with his hand. Don't hit me. Izuku turned around and began to face the wall with his head covered. What should I do now? Yamamoto looked at his class monitor. Don't ask me, this is a psychological problem. Izuku has been beaten into a psychological trauma, and this is a very serious psychological trauma. Beep beep, it's a call from my sister. Izuku-san, it seems to be your sister calling. Toru Hagakure quietly handed the phone to Izuku. Sister. Izuku wiped his tears and took the phone with his hand. Sister, long time no see. Izuku forced himself to smile. He couldn't cry in front of his sister. This was also an agreement. Alala, my lovely little Jonah, did you receive the clothes? Erlang Xiang quietly plugged the plug on his ear into the earphone jack of Izuku's mobile phone, so that the whole class could know what the person who was talking to Izuku was talking about. I received them all. And sister, did you send the wrong clothes? Why are there such embarrassing clothes in the express box? That's for you, little Jonah. Sister knows that I can't wear that kind of clothes. Izuku pouted. What can I do? Sister just wants to see Jonah wearing it. Sister Coco. Okay, my lovely little Jonah is still so cute, so I'll wait for you to help me apply sunscreen during the summer vacation in Hainan Island. Bye bye. Such a sweet and greasy voice. Holy sound from heaven, temptation from hell. The sexy duo is resurrected again. That Izuku classmate? Are you okay? Ida-Tinya looked at Izuku, and Izuku gave him a particularly bright smile in return. Yet. A real man. Chapter 33. After lunch, Izuku took off his snow clothes. After all, it was hot to wear such thick clothes. The afternoon class is a cultural class. If Mr. Cement is in class, I should be able to do tomorrow's math homework. Izuku thought so and took out his math homework from his school bag and started writing. Izuku classmate, is it really that? It's not impossible. But Hong, who was sitting next to Izuku, glanced at Izuku from time to time, and Bakugo classmate also glanced at Izuku from time to time. That rubbish. When did it happen? We must investigate it. Allah, Bakugo classmate is jealous. After school in the afternoon, Izuku walked home slowly while playing with his mobile phone. Gran Torino, I don't know what kind of person he is. I can't find it on my mobile phone. It should be like the peerless master in China who is hidden from the world. Izuku clenched his hands excitedly. If he trains me, I will definitely be able to climb another staircase. Izuku walked excitedly, not noticing the two little tails behind him. Well, it's time to go to Fiku's house. I want to see how many things this guy is hiding from me. If it's really him, then the half of the photo on me should be put together. Let's go and take a look first. Hung Jun also followed Izuku and followed him quietly. Mom, are you going out? As Izuku walked to the door of his house, Midoriya Yunza took a bag and walked out of the door. Yes, I have to buy vegetables tonight. Alala, are these two classmates of yours here to play? Two classmates? Izuku turned his head and saw Bakugo and Hong standing behind him. Katsumi and Hung Jun, why are you here? I came to visit my aunt. Bakugo said with his head down. I came to visit Izuku's mother. I received a lot of care from him. Hung Jun bowed to Izuku's mother in a proper manner. Hello, auntie. Hello, you two, Izuku, take these two classmates to visit your home. Okay. Izuku walked into the house with two classmates who had ulterior motives. By the way, Xiao Sheng hasn't been to my house for a long time. Izuku put down the express box and took slippers for the two classmates. Ah. I guess so. Bakugo looked unhappy. This is my first time to visit a classmate's house. Todoroki took the initiative to speak. You two can sit on the sofa first, I'll get something to drink. What do Xiao Sheng and Todoroki want to drink? Soda. Boiled water is fine. Okay. Izuku walked into the kitchen and started to make drinks. Izuku, can we take a casual tour of your home? Todoroki asked Izuku politely. No problem, please. Then I'll go to Izuku's room first. Don't rush me, yin yang face. The two walked into Izuku's room one after another. What's going on with these two people today? Izuku glanced at his room and continued to make drinks. I can only hope that Xiao Sheng doesn't mess up my room too much. Izuku sighed. Oh right. My diary. Izuku began to tremble again. Don't get caught, don't get caught. In Izuku's room, two bad guys were rummaging through boxes and cabinets. Fiju must be hiding something from me. When he was a child, he liked to hide things in his room the most. It must be in his room. Where is that half of the photo? I saw that the photo of classmate Ju and his mother when they were young has been confirmed for the most part, so the remaining half of the photo is that half of the photo. Where is the photo? You two, didn't your parents teach you not to rummage through other people's things? Well, the drinks are ready. Izuku stood at the door of his room with a plate, watching the two bad guys rummaging through his things without scruples. I put that drink at the door. Izuku put the drink at the door and walked back to the living room. Where is it? How come you are so good at hiding things? Where is that half photo? Where is it? Hey, you two, the owner of the room is back, why are you still looking for it? Since we have already looked through the drawers, the only thing left is the closet. The two looked at the closet. There are two closets in Izuku's room, one for school uniforms and sportswear, and the other for cosplay clothes. Then take one each. The two rushed to the closet that was closest to them. If I find out what you are hiding from me, you will be in trouble. Where is that half photo? Bakugo was looking for the closet where Izuku wears clothes, and Todoroki was looking for the closet where cosplay clothes were. Where is it? The two shouted. Where on earth did you put waste stuff? Bakugo-san, don't be so loud. It would be bad if you attract Izuku-san. You two still remember that this is Izuku's room. What are you looking for, yin-yang face? Bakugo didn't want to look for it anymore. He turned his head and looked at Hong, who was still rummaging through the closet. It's none of your business what I'm doing. This is... Hong suddenly took out a very small yukata from the closet. Hey? Waste even keeps that kind of thing. Only waste has the habit of nostalgia. Bakugo took the cup of soda without hesitation and took a sip. If he even keeps this piece of clothing, that means... Hong's speed of searching the closet increased. What on earth are you looking for, yin-yang face? Bakugo put down the cup he had finished drinking and stood up. This is it. This is it. Todoroki held a half-finished yukata in his hand. He was trembling all over. Only half of the yukata in his hand was left, and the remaining half also had signs of burning. Why don't I remember this dress? Bakugo tilted his head and saw the yukata in Todoroki's hand. It's strange that you can remember it. Todoroki's eyes suddenly became very sharp. Is that so? Bakugo crossed his arms and leaned against the wall. Suddenly, Izuku walked in. Well, Mom asked me to ask you if you want to have dinner at our house tonight. No, I'll give me another soda. I don't need it either. You've worked so hard today. Todoroki secretly took a photo of the yukata with his mobile phone when Bakugo and Izuku didn't notice it. He wanted to go back and study it carefully. Gulp gurgle. Bakugo drank the soda in one breath again. Then I'll leave first. I really troubled you today. Todoroki said goodbye to Izuku very well, but his hands were shaking slightly. Then I'm leaving too. Both of them left Izuku's house and headed for their own homes. I can actually hide things so well. How can I repair it? Go home, I have to go home, I have to rush back to get my things overnight. Both of them were in a hurry. Chapter 34, Meeting a Good Friend. When they came to school the next morning, Bakugo and Todoroki were obviously absent-minded. One was irritable and the other was trembling. They both had something to ask Izuku. Today's math class ends here. After lunch, everyone has to go to the career experience. I hope everyone can have a good experience. See you in a week. The math teacher said goodbye to everyone. I didn't expect that this career experience would last for a week. I hope nothing will go wrong. Kamimura Denki collapsed on the table and said angrily. That's right, and we can't see beauties like Sister Coco. Hey, Izuku, can you lend us a close-up photo of your sister? Two shameless perverts. Erlang Hibiki and Yurika Okako attacked from both sides, the perverted duo, and died again. This is absolutely not okay. I will never take out that kind of thing again. Izuku's tone was very firm. Izuku-san, can I ask you for a favor? Yurika Okako said in a low voice while suppressing the angry duo. What is it? Izuku tilted his head. That's it, can you lend us the books your sister has written? Yes, sure. Izuku smiled and took out 2 books from his school bag. One of these 2 books was sent by my sister yesterday, and the other is the book Assassin and Grass. I originally planned to read it again at noon. Since you want to read it so much, I will lend it to you, but remember to return it. Izuku said as he handed over the 2 books. Thank you so much. I was looking at the author's name yesterday, but I didn't even look at the name of the book. Let me take a look. Snow and Scimitar seems to be about the story of the western regions of China. As long as you like it. Izuku pulled the corner of his mouth. It's a pity that this book is still a foo book. My sister is now hopeless. She has written 5 foo books, and each one can make readers cry. I really don't know how my sister's foo technology tree is up. Isn't there a handsome guy to correct her? Or is that handsome guy you? Izuku shook his head. He knew his own weight very well. He was definitely not a handsome guy. Then, I'm going to go back to rest and sort out. See you in a week. As soon as Izuku put on his school bag, his hand was grabbed by an icy hand. It was Todoroki's hand. Izuku classmate, please come with me. Todoroki ran out of the classroom with Izuku, and a gossipy atmosphere emerged in the Hero Department 1A class. There's gossip Toriko. Yurika Okako looked at Toru Hagakure and handed him a mobile phone. Leave it to me. Toru Hagakure said, and then immediately followed Izuku and the others. If you want to watch it, just go to this website and watch the live broadcast. Yurika Okako recommended a website to everyone, and everyone, including the class monitor, opened the website and clicked into the live broadcast room. Izuku was led to the rooftop by Hongjun in one breath. Hong, why did you bring me to the rooftop? Your sister's letter yesterday mentioned that half of the photo, right? Well, that half of the photo was given to me by a very good friend when I was a child when she left. This is it. Izuku took out his wallet from his pocket, and carefully took out the half of the photo from his wallet. Except for Bakugo, everyone else swallowed their saliva when they saw this. Now you must not blink, every blink is a loss. Actually, I also have half a photo, which was also given to me by my good friend when I was a child. Todoroki's tone was trembling, and he took out the other half of the photo from his pocket with shaking hands. Izuku stared at the other half of the photo, and his mind was blank at this time. Todoroki's hand holding the half of the photo was also trembling. The distance between the 2 halves of the photo was getting closer and closer. No one dared to speak loudly. Izuku even held his breath. The 2 photos finally overlapped perfectly, and the 2 people on the rooftop were silent. Damn, you guys say something. I'm almost embarrassed to death. Kirishima Eijiro, who was not afraid of death, had just finished this sentence when he was nailed to the wall by everyone's eyes. Did you interrupt? You are responsible for today's homework and hygiene. On the rooftop, Izuku lowered his head and stretched out a hand to wipe the tears that were about to fall. He looked up at Todoroki. Long time no see, Shoto. Really long time no see, Izuku. The two smiled at each other. I'm full. Mineta touched his stomach. This candy and dog food are so greasy. The last two walked downstairs hand in hand, just like when they were little. Today, Izuku's smile was particularly sweet. Allah, the final feeling is still justice from heaven, and Yukirin left sadly. Baba Iwan, who was rooting for Yukirin, sighed. But I firmly believe that the one who laughs last is the winner, so I still root for Yukirin. Don't think about it, even I started to root for it, and now it's obviously more likely to be rooted. If you guys want to die, just say it. Nisn. There was an explosion in the classroom, and black smoke rushed out of the classroom, attracting Izuku's attention. What happened in the class? Is Xiaosheng angry again? Izuku looked at the class with grey smoke with a puzzled look. That durian head? Izuku, let's ignore him. Anyway, that guy used to beat you every day. Let's go eat steak at noon, okay? Hung Jun is in a very good mood now. Yin Yang face. Who do you say is the durian head? Bakugo rushed from the class with his quirk and directly broke the hand of the two good friends, Fog. Whoever agrees, that's it. Izuku, let's go. Hung Jun stretched out his hand again and planned to take Izuku out of school. Allah, it looks like we have a lot of drama to watch in the future, but I still support Tianzhong. Toriko. Didn't you agree to join me in supporting the young couple? But the success rate of this pair of young couples is too small, Ririri, you might as well join me in supporting Tianzhong. I don't want it. Young couples are the best. While several girls were arguing about which CP to support, the boys were also discussing what happened just now. I think the dog food from now on will be provided by Todoroki and Izuku. Mineta touched his belly. But squad leader, your life will be hard in the future. Kamina patted Ida's shoulder. Why? Ida looked puzzled. Think about it, Bakugo and Todoroki are already fighting so fiercely now, so in the future, will they? Ida Tinya admitted defeat, we can only take it one step at a time. But don't you think this is super passionate and super manly? Kirishima, it's not your turn yet, retreat first. I guess Izuku will be in a worse situation in the future. Why is that, Mineta, give me a reason. One is a long-lost friend, the other is a hot-tempered childhood sweetheart, plus a close friend from a foreign country. Let's not talk about the foreign sister, just talking about the two classes' top-notch combat power. If they accidentally fight for Izuku, will Izuku have to go up to help? If they really get angry, will Izuku also suffer? So, we must be careful, and never bring the war to ourselves. In the end, Izuku still ate steak with Kikin and Todoroki. The battle for Izuku has officially begun. Chapter 35, Testing and Buying Taiyaki. In the afternoon, Izuku came to the location on the note with his combat uniform on his back. It was a very dilapidated building. If Izuku hadn't listened carefully to All Might's advice, he would have thought that the building was a dangerous building. Is anyone here? Izuku walked into the building with the note. Hey? Is there no one? But there is clearly light here. Izuku walked into the kitchen. There was water and electricity, so someone lived here and should have gone out now. Well, the size of the foot is size 42, which is 1 inch larger than mine. Then there is the hair. This white hair is white all the way to the root of the hair, so it is a male old man in his 50s or 60s. However, there are also many footprints on the wall. If it is not personality, then this old man must have very terrifying leg strength. According to the architectural layout here, it seems that All Might's teacher is a slovenly person. There are still leftover taiyaki crumbs on the table, and there are fewer bowls in the sink. It should be lunch at noon. Izuku cleaned up while analyzing the teacher's personality. The TV is playing a children's channel. If the teacher doesn't have children, then she just likes watching it. The height of the sofa is slightly small. According to the footprints found before, we can analyze that the teacher is between 1.24 and 1.69 meters tall. There are no fragments of clothing fibers on the sofa. The teacher should be wearing the hero costume as daily clothes. Izuku said while wiping the sofa with a rag. Ah, I have been analyzing for so long, and the teacher hasn't come out yet. It seems that he really went out. Izuku sighed while mopping the floor. He didn't notice the figure wearing a yellow cloak on his head at all. The figure looked shocked. All Might really found a good treasure. That brat didn't use this kid's limit at all. It's almost sorted out, so the next step is to continue analyzing the teacher's quiz. There were traces of bounce and wind pressure on the ground before, so the teacher's quiz should be one of the two quiz bounce or jet dot. Izuku sat on the sofa and analyzed seriously. So, why did the teacher ask me to come here? First, the teacher wants to see me and check if I am qualified to be the next one. As All Might's choice, the teacher should trust me. Second, the teacher asked me to help him with some trivial things, which is not impossible. Third, to help me better control one foral is the most important thing, so the rest is how to train. Izuku thought with his chin pinched. If you analyze it this way, there is no need to see the teacher again. But such a narrow place can really train my control ability very well. Let's start first. Izuku stood in the middle of the hall on the first floor and began to mobilize his quirk. Speed is an ability that heroes must have, so let's try my speed here first. Izuku suddenly ran up the wall and began to roll up and down on this floor, which also surprised All Might's teacher, Gran Torino. In fact, this guy didn't use his full strength at the sports festival. If this guy is put on the villain side, he is simply the existence of the mastermind. At this time, Gran Torino, who was hanging on the ceiling, was no longer embarrassed to hang on the ceiling. He did a backflip and fell from the ceiling. Boy, what's your name? Gran Torino originally planned to ask Izuku's name in a casual way, but when he turned around, he saw Izuku jumping back and forth between two walls. The speed of the jump was so fast that I could hardly see Izuku's expression. Is 20 kilometers already so fast? Then continue, 30 kilometers. Izuku can now be said to have jumped up and down in this already shabby apartment. Ho ho, have you mastered it? Then let me see how much you are. Gran Torino also started to move. What? Someone? Is it a teacher or something? Get away from him first. The two started a chase in this building. Hehe, the speed is still quite fast, so I have to be more serious. Gran Torino's speed also became faster. Someone can actually keep up with my 30-kilometer jump speed. It must be the teacher. So why is the teacher chasing me? First, anger, second, detection. The probability of the second point is greater than the first point. So the teacher wants to see to what extent I control one foral, so he chases me. Then, he must show some skills. 40 kilometers. Explosion. Izuku's speed has reached a new level. Hoo, this kid actually has such a powerful speed. I have to admit that I am old. Gran Torino looked at Izuku, who had already run to the third floor and stood on the stairs on the second floor, panting heavily. Their chase has lasted for 3 hours. Teacher Gran Torino, do you want to continue? Suddenly, Izuku appeared in front of Gran Torino. No, I'm too tired. Go buy me a taiyaki. Yes. Izuku ran out the door like the wind. Gran Torino sat on the stairs and rested for a long time before taking out his mobile phone to call All Might. Hey, Yundian, this kid is much stronger than you were back then. On the other side, Izuku was running quickly to find a shop selling taiyaki. Taiyaki, taiyaki. Izuku ran out of the alley and turned around to see a taiyaki shop that was still open. After running for so long, I finally found it. Izuku ran across the street and ran towards the taiyaki shop. Hello, please bring me 3 pieces of taiyaki. Okay, no problem. The boss turned around and put 3 portions of taiyaki in a bag, then put it in the bag and gave it to Izuku, but when he raised his head, the boss looked at Izuku's in horror. Behind. Danger. Hey. Izuku turned around and saw a large truck flying over. The driver of the truck also had a look of horror on his face. Help. Izuku only had this idea now. He grabbed the owner of the taiyaki shop, and used his own speed to smash the window glass with a punch, and pulled the truck driver out. It hurts. Izuku looked at his hand. There was a piece of glass stuck in the back of his hand, but he had no time to care about that now. When he jumped back, the truck crashed directly into the taiyaki shop. The leaking engine oil collided with the burning charcoal fire. Bang! The truck exploded and the taiyaki shop became a ruin. Ha 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 ha. As expected, destruction is the most to my liking. Cube, we are here to seek money, not to kill people. It will be very troublesome after killing people. I know, sister. It seemed like they were enemies, or brother and sister. Enemy. Izuku put the two of them down and pulled out the glass shards in his hands. Hey, boss and driver uncle, please find a safe place to hide, and then call the police immediately. Izuku half crouched and looked at the enemy with a serious face. Sister, what are we going to do next? Two enemies appeared. The guy called Cube was actually a big guy with 5 big and 3 thick bodies. Cubes appeared and disappeared from time to time in his hands. I've already sensed it. In a short while, the cash transport truck will drive over. You clean up the people here first, and then grab the cash transport truck. Sister will buy you whatever you want to buy. The woman called Sister is wearing a black tights and a black mask sitting on the square's shoulders. It looks like it was premeditated. What? A brown square suddenly appeared in Chuang's hand, and then he threw the square at a passerby. The passerby was immediately hit by the square, and then wrapped in the square, like it's like a cat stuffing itself into a small box. Quick, hurry up. I know, sister. The big man threw the cubes faster, and more passers-by were wrapped up. It can't go on like this. This is a remote city. Even professional heroes can't get here quickly. Now only I can get in. Izuku thought while avoiding those brown squares. Take countermeasures. Hey? It seems like those blocks will automatically wrap up when they hit something, whether it's a human or a non-living thing, so that'll be easy. Izuku rolled on the spot, dodged a block, and took it out of his pocket. I took out several pens. Now. Stop it. Izuku shouted loudly to the enemy, who turned his head. Sister, there is someone here who wants to be a hero. Cube pointed at Izuku who was shouting at them. Then let him be a hero before he dies. Cube, be him. The reputation of our two siblings cannot be lost. Yes. Sister. The big man threw a large number of brown cubes at Izuku. These blocks are absolutely untouchable. In other words, can we only avoid them? 40 kilometers. Explosion. Chapter 36, Defeat and Promise. Izuku rushed towards the brother and sister duo like lightning. Sister, this guy is stupider than me, he actually dares to charge over. Get rid of him quickly, and then go grab the armored truck. My sister was a little impatient. Yes, sister. The frequency and number of blocks thrown by the big man increased. TCH, can this only be used? Izuku said, throwing out the pens in his hand. The pens wrapped in squares fell to the ground, opening a passage for Izuku. Sister, it seems I can't stop him. In the end, you have to rely on me. The masked sister stretched out her left hand, and the cubes that were flying randomly in the air actually flew neatly towards Izuku. Is that woman's personality to control cubes? It matches this big man's personality very well. Izuku thought as he struggled to avoid the cubes rushing towards him. The problem now is how to deal with two people. The main thing is how to defeat these two people. I don't have much pen in my hand, so I might as well rush directly into their faces. I can smash each of them with one punch, but how do I rush past them? I have no choice but to use this trick. Izuku raised his right foot. Foot wind blade. With one strike, a visible wind blade rushed towards the duo. Returned to defense. For a time, dozens of brown squares formed a wall in front of the brother and sister duo. The wind blade hit the square wall. The two forces were constantly wrestling. Suddenly, several squares blocked the wind blade. Surrounded by the block fell directly to the ground, and a hole appeared in the block wall. At this time, the brother and sister duo saw Izuku rushing over from the hole in the block wall, and the green arc illuminated their faces. Bright. Smash. 20 minutes later, when the police and professional heroes arrived at the scene, they only saw two tied-up enemies, blocks on the ground, and a burning taiyaki restaurant. Who did this? The police and professional heroes looked confused. On the way back, Izuku frowned as he looked at the still bleeding back of his hand. Although the wound was not big, it would be bad if it got infected. To be on the safe side, Izuku took out a band-aid from his pocket and put it on it. On the wound, and then ran back to Gran Trino's residence with the bag containing taiyaki. I'm back. Oh, who are you? The next morning, Izuku walked into the classroom as usual. Although he only had 2 classes, it was still necessary. Hey, have you heard? That guy Bakugo had his hair styled by the king of Bakugo, and it was still stuck with the strongest hair glue. It's absolutely hilarious. Really? I've never seen Bakugo with hairspray on. Izuku sat back in his seat, opened the book, and began to read. But before long, Todoroki walked over. It seemed that he had just arrived. He didn't even have time to put down his school bag before he walked over to Midoriya. Izuku, how did you feel about your professional practice yesterday? It's okay, it's just that the person who trained me is a little weird. Izuku covered his injured right hand with his left hand without leaving any trace. This unusual move still made Todoroki-kun notice the abnormality, and he directly said, pulling up Izuku's right hand. Todoroki-kun looked obviously dazed for a moment when he saw the large scar on Izuku's hand, which was close to 1 centimeter. Then he took Izuku's hand to take him to the health room. Todoroki-kun. The treatment girl hasn't arrived at the health room yet. Izuku tugged on his hand, trying to take his right hand out. How long have you had this wound? That's it, from yesterday afternoon to now. Todoroki-kun, please let go. Just when Izuku wanted to take his right hand out of Todoroki-kun's hand, Bakugo opened the door to the class. His hair was not as usual. The roots were erected, but it fit Bakugo's head into a snug hairstyle. Ha ha ha. Bakugo's hairstyle is really funny. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, I can't bear it anymore, ha 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 ha. Kirishima and Kaminari's faces were dysfunctional, and their expressions were almost deformed with laughter. You think I'm willing, but that squirting bowl king did it to me. Just when Bakugo looked like you're all Nisuna, he saw that annoying half of his face grabbing Fiju's hand. Knowing what he was going to do, the distance between the two of them was very close. For some reason, Izuku felt Todoroki-kun holding his hand tighter. Bakugo exploded at that moment, and his originally docile hair exploded instantly. Bakugo threw away his school bag and rushed over. Yin-yang face. What the hell are you doing? Nishiyuki. There was another uproar in the class. After the class monitor and other boys separated the 2 violent men, everyone discovered that Izuku had hid in the corner of the classroom at some point, holding his head in his hands and facing the wall, and thought. Don't hit me, don't hit me. Izuku said with his head lowered, tears constantly falling from Izuku's face to the ground, and he let out a pap-tat-tat sound. It's over. The shadow in Izuku's heart is immeasurable. The dark past. This is Bakugo and Todoroki-kun's fault. How did you turn Izuku from a crybaby back into an angel? This is your responsibility. No one is allowed to leave. Mineta, Minoru and Zero, seal the door. 8 million expressions very gloomy. When did I make you 2 cry and we are so spoiled? Please apologize to me quickly. Yes. The tape and black grapes directly sealed the door, and no one could leave now. Whoever wants to care about Fiju can go. Bakugo sat on a chair not far from Izuku, looking at Izuku squatting in the corner with disdain. I don't care about this waste. Izuku, we should go, otherwise the wound will be infected, Hung Jun said to Izuku in a soft voice. Well. Izuku couldn't care about anyone at this time, he just knew how to cry. The knot in my heart has not been resolved, everything is unpredictable. Chang'an shook his head. Fiju, have you cried enough? Do you want a lollipop? Izuku's body suddenly shook violently, and he turned his head to look at Bakugo, who was sitting there with a lollipop. Lollipop? Is it for me? Thank you, Xiaosheng. Izuku took the lollipop and ate it happily. Is it over? What's wrong with feeling a bit lame? Isn't the point about why Bakugo suddenly took out a lollipop? This round is a win. The best of the best. I actually lost this round, how can I make it up? Todoroki, you are so useless. Fortunately, I support Todoroki anyway, happy. Ah, Todoroki sometimes still can't get along with friends, and he doesn't even know what his friends like. Now you can open the door. More than 10 minutes later, Midoriya, Bakugo and Todoroki came to the health room and found the treatment girl. Why do you come to my place almost every day? My place is almost like your second home. The treatment girl was a little unhappy. Why do you come here every day? Sorry, treatment girl, something happened yesterday. Izuku, with a bandage on his hand, scratched his head. Well, I heard that you defeated the brother-sister duo yesterday. You are very popular now. The treatment girl nodded. In order to protect the safety of citizens in the armored car, these minor injuries are permissible. Izuku touched his head and laughed. Well, but next time you have to wait for the arrival of the professional heroes and the police after you deal with the enemy, otherwise what if those two guys run away again? Yes, I will pay attention next time. The two guys who were at odds with each other stood outside the health room and fell silent. It's only the first day of practice, and Izuku has killed a pair of enemies. It's really fast. This guy Fiju is actually faster than me, all because of that guy Tide Explosion Bowl King. Both nodded. This time, I must defeat, blast away, more enemies than Izuku, Fiju, and then, surpass, catch up with him. Protect him by my side. Chapter 37, Other People's Current Situation and Self-Analysis. In the afternoon, Izuku and Gran Trino were drinking black tea and eating taiyaki in that shabby little building. Do you know where your weakness is now? Gran Trino asked after taking a sip of black tea. I know, the black tea doesn't taste very good. That's not what I asked. If you, teacher, are asking about one foral, then my problem is that I have too few special moves. Once the enemy analyzes them, they can easily stop them. After all, I am not as powerful as All Might yet. Well. Izuku rubbed the black tea cup with his index finger. After all, your control ability is already considered top-notch. All that's left is technology, and technology is something you must accumulate by fighting against enemies. So, starting from tomorrow, I will take you to other cities for normal operations. Professional experience, well, this black tea tastes good. As long as the teacher likes it. Izuku also raised his teacup and drank. It was still a bit inferior to his sister's tea. After a while, the taiyaki was eaten by Izuku and Gran Trino. Izuku consciously took the plate to wash the dishes, while Gran Trino sat on the sofa and turned on the TV to watch. I knew today's hot spot. Now it's news about the enemy. The hero killer is still on the run. 16 heroes have been killed or injured. The police internal analysis department has sent news. They believe that the hero killer Stein is extremely likely to be killed. We may go to third-tier cities such as Hosa City, and hope that police and other heroes can patrol third-tier cities. Izuku, who was washing dishes, couldn't help but think of his class president Tinya Ida when he heard the news. I remember that Ida-san's brother was seriously injured by the hero killer Stein. Moreover, Ida-san is currently in Hosa City for professional experience, so I am really worried about him. Humph. Bring me back my cartoons. I want to watch cartoons. Gran Trino almost smashed the TV. Cartoons should be broadcast at this time, why did you change it to hot news? Teacher, please don't be angry. I have saved the TV shows that teacher likes to watch. Do you want to watch them first? Izuku took out his mobile phone from his pocket, called up the cartoon that Gran Trino liked to watch, and then he handed the phone to Gran Trino. Hey, you have some conscience. Gran Trino curled his lips and took the phone and started watching cartoons. I wonder how the others are doing now. At this time, it was freezing. He chose his father's firm. Although he was still quite unhappy with his father, in order to complete his professional experience and gain better combat experience, he still chose to study with his father. Boom! A burst of ice picks flew past, and the originally arrogant enemy was pinned to the wall by the ice picks. Hong Xiaodong shook off the ice shards on his hand. This was already the third wave of enemies he had defeated. Master Hong, this ability of yours is really useful. The hero who teamed up with him today was a hero who used fire. He had just knocked out an enemy when he saw Hong Xiaodong using an ice pick to pin the enemy to the wall. Superior. Don't call me young master. If it weren't for the blood relationship, I wouldn't even want to recognize him as my father. Hong Xiaodong touched the burn mark on the left side of his face, that stinky father. Hey, it seems that the relationship between the boss and the young master is difficult to ease, after all what happened. The hero who teamed up with Mr. Todoroki knew enough to shut up and never mentioned the topic again. Then, Xiaodong, leave this to the police. We have to continue patrolling. Yet. Todoroki said with a cold face, I don't know how Izuku is doing. At this time, Bakugo was patrolling with the Shiobaku King, and Bakugo's hair was combed neatly by the Shiobaku King. As a member of our firm, we must have a good image. We don't want an irritable guy to be our partner all the time, so your character must be changed, even if it's number 1 All Might. He has an approachable look, and since you want to surpass him, then you must do better than him. The Surge Ox King said seriously to Bakugo, who was following him. This guy is really annoying. Bakugo followed the Shiveo Ox King with an unhappy look on his face. They were walking in the downtown area, and from time to time there would be a few children saying hello to the Shiveo Ox King. Who do you think is the one following the Ox King? He looks so ugly. Perhaps he is an enemy. He was caught by the Shivaku King and taken to the police station. Several little kids with no eyesight discussed Bakugo without any scruples. Who do you think is the enemy? Bakugo exploded again. I am the hero who wants to surpass the number 1 hero, how could he be the enemy? Wow! The kid was so frightened by Bakugo that he screamed and didn't dare to move at all. Bakugo, how many times have I told you, your image now is very bad. The king of sizzling Bakugo turned to look at Bakugo, who was scaring the child, and patted his forehead with his hand. I shouldn't have said this at that time. The guy was recruited, and now the image of the firm is in jeopardy. Hurry up and leave. Today's patrol is not even halfway through. TCH. Bakugo said, turning around and following the Shiveo Ox King. I don't know what happened to that trash. After returning home, Izuku stood in front of the floor-length mirror in his room. What do you think of Gran Trino's Nirvana? In fact, we already have enough special moves, and we have a trump card, so there is no need to pretend. But, not only us, but everyone else is improving. What if someone improves faster than me? It is not impossible, so develop more special moves? But what else can we develop? Try to gather quirks into a ball, and then throw the ball at the enemy like Xiaosheng? But don't we have bows and arrows? The movement of the bow and arrow is too big. Either the movement of the bow and arrow is reduced, or the power of the bow and arrow is increased. No matter how you look at it, the latter option is easier to achieve. Well, it is indeed easier to achieve, but we must not rely solely on bows and arrows. In addition to heavy swords and heavy armor, we must have another special move that can be used for both offense and defense for a long time. Well, let me think about it. Izuku pinched his chin and began to walk back and forth in the room. You're right. My special moves now are all the kind that can kill with one strike. If we encounter an enemy as strong as Brainless, we must be able to fight a long battle with the enemy. In fact, you can also cover your fists with quirk to form a pair of fists similar to brass knuckles. You can also form a medium-sized sword that is hard enough. Or change the heavy armor into light armor, which is not only hard but also flexible. By the way, we will go out with Gran Torino tomorrow, so we can do experiments. Aren't you worried about Ida-Tina? Of course I am worried, but what's the point of worrying? We are not going to patrol there tomorrow. I can only hope that Ida-san will not be blinded by anger. You should make more preparations. I always have a bad feeling. I know. Then I will go to prepare. Good night to the other me. Good night. Chapter 38, Two Troublemakers and the Brainless. The next morning, Izuku came to the class. The class was still empty. After all, it was only 7 o'clock. I don't know how everyone is doing. Except for me who has been playing for 2 days, everyone else should have achieved a lot, such as defeating the enemy to increase their experience and reputation. Izuku thought so. Then he sat back in his seat and took out the skill manual he had prepared yesterday. Today I am going to choose a few special moves to start from among the skills I can use. Izuku carefully looked at the skills he could use now. Night swords are divided into ceremonial swords, light swords, medium swords, and heavy swords. The ceremonial swords and light swords are mainly for assassination, the medium swords are for both offense and defense, and the heavy swords are powerful and heavy, mainly for defense. The bows and arrows already have an arrow. When it comes to Arrow 5, Arrow Swarm, Arrow Whisper and the special attack Arrow Shat, the boxing and kick techniques also have sufficient offensive and defensive capabilities. As for the priority, Izuku finally chose the long-range first move to repel the enemy's Arrow Swarm. As the initiate, the melee initiate uses the elusive ceremonial sword and light sword to control and assassinate. In the middle, we should focus on output, and in the end, we should focus on control. If the enemy resists, we can directly kill them. Well, that's it. Izuku nodded, then closed his skill book. He looked up and found the squad leader already sitting in his seat. The squad leader's mood has been very strange in recent days. Monitor, did you finish yesterday's homework? Can you let me copy it? Izuku patted Ida on the shoulder, and the monitor trembled all over. How many times have I told you Kaminari-san that you have to do your own homework? Izuku-san, are you kidding me? Hehe, I'm sorry. I just saw that you haven't been feeling well these past few days, so. Thank you very much, but I still have to say, homework. Ida stretched out his hand and began to make incomprehensible movements. I know, you still have to do your own homework. Monitor, please put down your restless hands. Izuku patted Ida-san on the shoulder, asking Ida to relax. By the way, Monitor, I haven't even asked you yet, how is your professional experience? It's not bad. You can gain a lot by learning from your seniors. La, squad leader, I feel that you are all having a very normal professional experience, but mine is a little bit wrong. Izuku looked unhappy. What's wrong? Didn't you also have a firm that chose you? Is it because the training method doesn't suit you? No, it's mainly just training and training every day. I'm almost bored to death. Izuku puffed up his face. That's good. Unlike us, we have to go out on patrol every day and have to deal with enemies from time to time. I wish I could train in the office every day. This is not what a monitor should say. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the little heroes of Class 1A, who had finished 2 classes, set out boldly for professional experience activities, full of enthusiasm. I said, we don't get off at the same place, do you need to sit next to me? Izuku sighed and looked at Todoroki-kun and Bakugo sitting on his left and right. What does it have to do with you, a loser, where I sit? Izuku, I want to sit with you. Xiaosheng and Todoroki-kun sandwiched me in the middle, and it was so uncomfortable. Are you Izuku Midoriya's classmate? Suddenly, a girl with twin tails wearing a junior high school uniform stood in front of Izuku Midoriya and the others, holding a notebook. I am, what can I do for you? Izuku looked at the girl with confusion. I like you very much, please sign it for me. The girl took out a notebook and pen and wanted Izuku to sign it for her. Ha! Izuku signed the girl's autograph with trembling hands, and the girl happily walked away with the autograph, her 2 ponytails swaying back and forth with joy. Humph! I didn't expect that there would be a girl who blindly became your fan. Bakugo looked at the girl with twin tails walking further and further away with an unhappy look on his face. Hehe, this also proves that someone likes me. Izuku shook his trembling hand and said happily. His narrowed eyes reminded Mr. Todoroki of when Izuku played with him when he was a child. Izuku also smiled so sweetly at that time. Well, someone also likes Izuku. Well, Todoroki-kun, just keep talking, can you stop holding my hand? Uniang face, what are you doing? Izuku separated the people who were about to start a fight with a look of helplessness on his face. What's going on with Xiaosheng and Todoroki-kun lately? Why do we quarrel every day? Just ask the classmates in the evening. Hey, I'm due, I'll be there later. I saw a toy worth playing with for a while. In the afternoon, Izuku sat on the sofa and read the instructions for his new combat uniform. This move made Gran Trino a little curious, and he also sat on the sofa and took a look at the instructions. Are there iron pieces on the feet to strengthen the defense of the feet? There are also parts on the arms to enhance elbow strikes. Generally speaking, they are very good. Okay, it's time to remove these sandbags from the body. Izuku stood up, took off his shirt, and then with a click, the sandbag on his back detached and hit the ground hard. Phew, it's much easier. Next is the feet. Izuku squatted down and removed the sandbags from his feet one by one. Wait a minute, were you wearing these sandbags when you were chasing me? Gran Trino found a problem. Yes, these sandbags are almost a part of my body. Izuku moved his body. He already had more than a dozen muscles, and the muscles on his arms were also very strong. So can these sandbags be replaced? Iron blocks are still thicker, so I might as well carry them from now on. Izuku said this and took off all the iron blocks on his waist. After changing into combat uniforms, Izuku felt that he was relaxed. Now he doesn't need one forel at a speed of 50 kilometers. Teacher Gran Trino, let's go. Okay. Gran Trino nodded, looked at the big pits made by the sandbags and iron blocks, and swallowed his saliva. How heavy are the sandbags that this kid is carrying? Sitting on the train to the patrol location, Izuku touched the small bag he had prepared. It contained many of his private collections, such as sound imitation iron sheets, 100,000 volt electric batons, and jump, cough cough, Izuku has never bought that kind of thing, really. Teacher Gran Torino, I don't know why, but I always have a bad feeling. Izuku looked at the city outside the window. Soon, this train will pass through Hosa City. I hope everything is fine with the squad leader. Just when Izuku wanted to close his eyes and take a rest, the alarm bells in his heart rang loudly. He pulled the clothes of the two people in the front seat back without thinking. Hey, what are you doing? Security. There is a pervert here. Just when everyone was puzzled by Izuku's behavior, a giant hand broke the window and tore open the skin of the seat. Woo-ah-ah! Looking at the familiar figure in front of him, Izuku couldn't help but clench his fists. Brainless. Did it escape from prison? Chapter 39, Brainless and Stein. No, this guy is similar to the noob, but he is obviously stronger than the captured noob. Izuku said, clenching his fist and standing opposite the noob. Boy! Protect the people. Gran Torino said, using his quirk to kick the noob away, then jumped off the train and chased after the noob. Yes. Izuku looked at the train nervously. Everyone get off the train in an orderly manner, the professional heroes will be here soon, and I will protect everyone before the professional heroes get here. Although Izuku's voice was immature, it was unexpectedly able to soothe people's hearts, and everyone got off the train in order. After a while, two professional heroes ran over. They were originally on patrol missions. Thank you so much. One of the heroes wearing a blue helmet thanked Izuku. If it weren't for you, more people would be injured. Another hero also said that he was wearing a black mask and carrying an alloy baseball bat on his back, looking very trendy. But you have to be careful. It is said that someone has seen the hero killer Stein in this city. Hero killer? Stein. Izuku's eyes shrank suddenly, and he ran into the city without looking back. Hey, hey! Don't run! Be careful of the enemy! The hero in the blue helmet shouted at Izuku. He was stopped by his partner just as he was about to rush over. We need to take care of the people on the entire train now. We don't have the energy to stop him anymore, not to mention. His partner looked in the direction where Izuku disappeared. Everyone wants to make a performance. You are already in the top 500 on the list. It's easy to talk without any pain. The blue helmet rolled his eyes at his partner. This thief, he got the advantage and still acted cute. If the previous heroes hadn't been injured by Stein, you would still be out of the top 600 now. Don't be funny, come and help. Oh. At the same time, Izuku was frantically shuttling through the alleys of Hosa City. According to the information, the place where Stein killed heroes was mostly an alley where no one would go. There's nothing here either. Damn it, Ida-kun must have gone to seek revenge on Stein. Izuku continued to walk through the alley. If the class monitor is killed by Stein, the class will definitely be depressed. We will never allow such a thing to happen. Turn left at the next intersection. I think I hear Stein's voice. Fake guy, you don't have the right to live in this world. Your death will be the end of the fake hero. The ragged Stein raised his ragged sword and was about to stab Ida, who was lying on the ground and couldn't move. Spare his life. Somehow, this sentence came out of Izuku's mouth when he saw Stein and Ida. Tisk, another one? Then just kill them together. Stein put away his knife and looked at Izuku who just ran over. Oh, my words are so effective. Izuku stood at the entrance of the alley, looking at the bloodthirsty Stein, and was a little excited. Finally I have met a good opponent. The next step is how to conduct the experiment. Izuku made a gesture ready to attack at any time, and the experiment began. Arrow swarm. He drew the bow with his left hand and put the arrow in his right hand. A swarm of arrows flew out of Izuku's right hand, and several arrows formed by green electric arcs flew towards Stein. You are quite interesting, Stein dodged the swarm of arrows with a few moves. How about making friends after eating my green arrows? What? Stein looked at his waist, and a green electric arc arrow hit his waist, and that place happened to be the kidney. Hehe, even so, I didn't feel any pain. The attack of the counterfeit will not work. Stein's red eyes flashed, and he drew out his tattered sword and looked at Izuku. Hehe, the counterfeit dares to become a hero. It's really unprepared. Then I'll use you guys to sacrifice my sword. As soon as Stein finished speaking, he rushed straight towards Izuku. It looks like this guy is a bit tricky, Arrow whistling. The wind pressure caused by the arrow sound blew Stein back to the alley. Humph. Fortunately, I have already sent out my own position. Now I just need to hold on until the professional hero arrives. Izuku thought so, and several more arrows whistled at Stein. The wind pressure of the arrow whistling is full range, and it cannot be freely controlled. The squad leader and the other hero will also suffer. We must change another way to fight Stein. Hey, Stein, hero killer, you said that you killed all the fakes, then what kind of hero do you think is a real hero? Izuku planned to fight with Stein while talking, and force Stein back while ensuring the safety of the two injured. The real hero, hehe, good question. Stein licked his teeth with his rough tongue. Hero, fight evil, sacrifice yourself, do not seek fame and fortune, just like All Might. Stein said hoarsely, and he put down his hand that raised the knife. This little brat is quite interesting. Wait a minute. Izuku waved his hand to indicate a pause. What's the matter? You said that a true hero should be like All Might, not seeking fame or fortune, and sacrificing himself, right? Yet, All Might did sacrifice a lot for peace, but I don't quite agree that he doesn't seek fame or fortune. As a fan of All Might, do you know how much I spend every month to buy All Might figures? 100,000 yuan, and I haven't collected the whole set yet. I always buy genuine ones and never buy pirated ones. Izuku said loudly. According to the data I know, All Might's office can make more than 10 billion yuan from selling figures every year, and this is still considered pure income. Other incomes such as appearing on TV shows are countless. I believe he doesn't seek fame, but I'm a little skeptical about it. If he doesn't seek profit, then how did he build such a big All Might office? Izuku gathered his quirk on his right hand while talking nonsense, forming a light sword with a green arc. You are just making trouble. Stein also shouted loudly. Tisk, he is indeed a determined guy, but the purpose of delaying time has been achieved, watch out. Izuku's figure flashed, and the next moment he appeared in front of Stein, and a green arc sword continued to expand in Stein's eyes. Light sword. Falling bee sting. Ninja style. 7 blades. The two sides fought together. Chapter 40. While Izuku and Stein were fighting fiercely, Todoroki Jun was running wildly with his father. They were also in Hosa City. Not long ago, several brainless creatures suddenly appeared and wreaked havoc on the city. Harm people. That guy flies so fast. Hong Xiaodong was thinking as he ran, what they were chasing now was a brainless creature with wings. Dingle bell, dingle bell. This was the special ringtone used by Izuku to send messages. Todoroki immediately turned around and ran away without looking back. Xiaodong! What are you doing? Andava turned to look at his son who was running away. Anyway, you can handle that kind of enemy. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Hong Xiaodong said without looking back. My friend sent me a rescue request, and I finally got a good impression. You bastard dad, go save people by yourself. I'm going to save my Izuku. Hey, since when did Izuku belong to your family? Put it down. At this time, Izuku was fighting with the hero killer Stein. As a hero, a person with outstanding ability to protect the people, can't he even live in a good house? A hero should not seek fame or fortune, but there are too many fake heroes in the world. I will use my hands to change the world. It is not so much a confrontation between two people as a struggle between two ideas. The world today is too chaotic. If heroes are like you said, except for their passion and strong strength, then the world will collapse sooner or later. You, like me before, only see the brilliance and strength of number one, you haven't seen the dedication of those ordinary heroes at all. I admit that some heroes do have bad conduct, but they really protect those who need protection. In times of crisis, are those who stand up to protect people? Isn't he a hero? Stein was stunned for a moment, and the movements of his hands paused. Opportunity. Light sword. Bite and kill. Damn it. Shinobi Daoyi. The two sides were fighting again, and it seemed like Izuku had the upper hand. This kid's ideas conflict with mine, but he's a guy I admire. You're distracted again. Izuku saw this hero killer being distracted again, and he felt a little unhappy. Brother, this is a life and death battle. Can you show your opponent some respect? Another bite struck, and Stein suddenly swayed and appeared behind Izuku. What? Go to hell. Kid. A cold light flashed through, and Izuku felt that his whole body became cold. Just when the cold light was about to pierce Izuku's body, an icicle stopped him. A cold glow. Who told you to touch him? Hong Xiaodong stood at the entrance of the alley, with an ice tunnel just built using personality at his feet. Hey, Todoroki-kun, thank you, but why are you the only one here? Izuku landed on the ground and looked at Todoroki Xiaodong. You should write down clearly what happened to you. Only a specific address made me think about it for a few seconds. I didn't expect anyone else to come, so this is going to be a bit tricky. Stein said as he licked the blood on his knife, which was Izuku's blood. Yet, Izuku suddenly froze and stood still. Damn it! It's Stein's personality. Izuku now understands why so many heroes have been killed by Stein. This personality is almost unexplainable. Izuku! What's wrong with you? Todoroki's expression became very nervous. Don't be nervous, he just fell in love with my personality, and you will be like him in a while. Stein licked his teeth again with his tongue, and looked at Hong Xiaodong with a look that seemed to be looking at a freshly baked chicken. Damn it! Hong Xiaodong stepped on the ground a few more times, and several icicles burst out of the ground, stopping Stein who was rushing over. Ahahaha! Can something like this stop me? Stein smiled strangely and used the sword in his hand to cut through the icicles one after another. Tisk, it's true that the reputation of the hero killer is not in vain. Hong Xiaodong raised his left hand as he spoke, and an extremely powerful flame blasted out from Hong Xiaodong's left hand and went straight towards Stein. Double personality. Stein jumped back and squatted on the wall of the alley to avoid the flames. Izuku, Ida, can you two still move now? Izuku shook his head slightly, and Ida couldn't even move his fingers. Give up, they won't be able to move for a certain period of time. Stein sharpened the tattered sword with the fist armor on the back of his hand, planning to turn Hong Xiaodong into a lamb for him to slaughter next time. Who said that? Nanny. Stein turned his head sharply, and a fist with a green arc came into view. Boom. The punch was so powerful that it directly smashed Stein into the wall. Ahem. How on earth did you break away from my personality? Even if you have type O blood, if you are hit by my personality, you will have to freeze for 2 minutes, which is only more than a minute. Bell. You, don't underestimate the willpower of someone who wants to be like All Might. Izuku spat out a mouthful of blood. I'm not stupid. If I want to get rid of this personality, in addition to willpower, there are also external factors. It's so exciting, if I hadn't bitten my tongue, it would still be stiff now. Todoroki. Izuku couldn't speak casually now, so he could only speak to Todoroki Xiaodong in ventriloquism. Yet, Todoroki Xiaodong nodded, and he stood in front of Ida and the other injured hero. You. Why? Ida was lying on the ground with his fingers trembling slightly. He was supposed to defeat this hero killer, but now he had to let his 2 classmates protect him. I can't accept it. I can't accept it. I'm really useless. Class monitor, you are too obsessed with revenge. Don't keep thinking about revenge. Is the class monitor who is lying on the ground now still the super rational and intelligent one I know? I can't just watch you and do nothing. Hung Jun, let us protect the class monitor and the others this time. Yes. Roar, are you two going to join forces? Stein, who finally came down from the wall, shook the katana in his hand. Now the situation has become more difficult. Izuku shook his body and left the place and suddenly appeared next to Stein. Light sword. Bite and kill. Back off. Stein was about to jump back when he found that his way back had been blocked by an ice road. The sharp ice cones were shining in the moonlight. Humph. Ninjutsu. Dei. This move is useless. Light sword. Thrust. The light sword formed by the green arc broke through Dei's interception and stabbed directly at Stein. Damn it! Stein twisted his waist and dodged the attack. Dei instantly surrounded the sword composed of green arcs, but Izuku pulled his hand out in time and released his quirk at the same time, so he was not countered by Dei. The counterfeit's attack is useless. Really? Do you feel numb now? Hey! Stein's movements were obviously slow, which was caused by the arrow that shot into his kidney before. Humph, do you still think that my arrow has no effect now? Izuku curled his lips, I have many back UPS. Smash. Ninjutsu. Devil Bite. The two powerful killing moves collided with each other, cement and smoke flew everywhere, and it was hard to see who won for a while.